Hold on one second.
All
Hold on one
right,
second. I'm finna go get my headphones. Hold on one second.
all right. I'm gonna go on and bring them in. What up, family? Can fucking file. Let me see what it's talking about. Back at you one more time. Got a little bro up in here one more again. Mellow. We coming at you today. Want to talk to you specifically about relationships. We're gonna go about it first, starting off from a current event perspective. I'm pretty sure a lot of us are aware of the situations that's been taking place at our borders, where the children are being separated from their parents. So I really just want to touch on the fact that oftentimes we think relationships are limited to who you in a relationship with, whether that's boyfriend and girlfriend, husband and wife. But we often forget how a lot of these decisions that are being made in these government buildings affect how we're raising our children. I was talking to my little brother a little bit earlier before we got online, basically speaking about how I think about when I was a child, how my mother used to always be consciously thinking about, oh, shoot, if you try to call the police on me, you know what I'm saying, because I'm disciplining you in this manner, then, let them raise. Me being a child, man, I have to think of like, where did that escalation go? If they was trying to dictate how my mother disciplined me then, what stipulations are on the discipline now when it comes to me raising my child? Is it even suitable to spank your child, even if it's just on the bottom? Like, I know that's how it was when we was growing up, but considering how things change over time, I just wanted to throw that out there for you, little Brett. If you back on the line, let me know how you feel about like the different stipulations that are made on parents on how they. You
Yeah,
back, bro?
hold on. Go ahead and keep elaborating because I got some people coming downstairs real quick.
All right, no problem, no problem. I just think about like, okay, if you weren't supposed to be able to spank a child on the butt at that time, I would consider today you probably can't even spank a child at all. Maybe even yelling might be borderline because given the fact that the spankings were stipulated to the point of how it was when we was children. As time goes on, you might see the need to stipulate further. So when I think about that shit, it still brings me back to this border situation. I am conflicted in the situation because on one hand, I'm like, I see a lot of people within this country and the relationships that me being a black man and coming from a background of such, I see the relationships that I have with different ethnicities. And a lot of times when we're having issues, it's not these ethnicities that are coming out front and making it a point that as a group, they don't approve of how we're being treated. So a lot of times it's left for us to assume that these people are in agreement with the treatment that we're receiving. So on one hand, I'm kind of like, that ain't our business. But on another hand, I'm like, you know what? The same thing that's going on with them is taking place with us. So let this be a time for us to pay more attention to the things that have been enacted on us that we have forgotten about. Like I said, with as simple as the spankings. Uh, it's with Migo last, they can't even be with their children in this country. Uh, Not to say it's simple or it's less complex, none of that. I'm just saying sometimes you have to take care of what's going on in your house or you can even appreciate or even look out from an instance of trying to help or even say it ain't your problem. You feel me? You kind of got to know where you starting at. You back yet, bro?
Yeah.
All right, so
Well,
I'm gonna pose the question. My question for you is, do you feel like a lot of the things that go on in these governmental buildings with their decision making affects how you raise your child?
uh, I feel like what goes on the higher up level definitely can have a trickle down effect. I mean, as most things tend to do, but ultimately, I think that when done in proper manner, you know, ultimately you got the upper hand on what you know what I'm saying, how you raise your kids. If you bring your kids up in respect, they understand that any type of, you know, correction that you offer into them or disciplinary action you know, doing or whatever, you know what I'm saying, is ultimately for their good. I think one thing that you know what I'm saying, helps that is explaining to the kid why. Because I know growing up, you know, we used to ask our parents why, and be like, because I said so. And they wouldn't try to give you no explanation for nothing. Because I said so. You know what I'm saying? Do what I said. You know what I'm saying? But sometimes if that why just get answered, you know what I'm saying? I feel like that's important in helping completely understand the entire situation, because, you know, a childlike brain is not thinking about, you know, what an adult brain is thinking about. So, you know what I'm saying, help them understand why they shouldn't, you know, them pee in the bathtub, for instance. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I'm just using that because my kids is peeing in the tub last week. And I'm just like, okay, no, we don't do that. But, you know what I'm saying? Why? Because it's a community tub. You, your mama, and your sister use this tub. You know what I'm saying? This ain't just your damn bathtub. You gotta pee. You either wait till you get out, or you pee before you get in, or get out while you taking a shower if you got to. You know what I'm saying? So like answering those questions and just being a little bit more involved, I think ultimately puts most, if not all, of the power in our hands. But I do understand where you're going with the question. So like if you do decide to take like a physical disciplinary action, is it right for somebody who's not in your household to be able to get involved? And my clear cut answer to that is, if there's no true sign of like a real abuse, I don't feel like nobody should be able to tell me shit. You know what I'm saying? These are my kids. And if, you know, but that's part of the problem with having such a large government type situation anyway. You know, if it was more community based, a little bit more central, you know, your people who's around you gonna keep you in check. You know what I'm saying? Versus somebody who just sits behind a desk all day banging a hammer, making decisions on people's lives. If it was a little bit more central, you know what I'm saying, I could understand, you know, community rules in effect. You've been tripping. We see, you know what I'm saying, you've been beating on these kids type thing. But yeah, as far as what you were saying about people, elected officials going in, having to say, I feel like it's wrong. I feel like it's very unnatural as well. That's my spiel.
Word. No, I definitely understand and agree with what you were saying about the topic. You know, just so we ain't slow walking people. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to play people like they dumb. Right on in, they come to relationships. One of the first things as a people is uh, I'm constantly hearing about the other doesn't respect. You know what I'm saying? Yo, with me as a man, I want to speak to you about coming from the perspective of why men and women tend to, you know, bump heads when it comes to, you know, one or the other trying to speak on what their intentions may be for the direction of the family and why there's so much conflict. You know, I wanted to start off talking about the childhood because based on the different things that you went through in your childhood kind of determines as well as affects different things that go on in your adult relationship should you not, you know, get these things in check. Just to throw out one thing in particular, like for me, I always felt like my mother didn't listen to me enough. And so in relationships, I can say a lot of my fault come into play when I tend to overzealously feel like one may feel like somebody's not listening to me. You know what I'm saying? For the lack of a better phrase, and you know what I mean, the perfect way to say it. You know what I mean? It just always boils down to shit. I feel like you're not listening, but you're not hearing me. You're not doing this. And for me, I had to check myself and realize, like, hold on, bro. A lot of times people are hearing you. Even your mother was hearing you, but you made up in your head she wasn't. So, you know, going forward, that affects your relationships. You know, for you, I just want to ask you, is there anything like, you know, in your relationship that you had to, you know, check yourself and go back to your childhood and be like, dang, hold on, I do this because of that. It ain't necessarily that person, but it triggers certain things in me. You know what I'm saying? When I get this kind of effect. You there, bro?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. As far as something that I definitely took from my childhood, you saying something that I've implemented from my childhood that I either, you know what I'm saying, basically just, you know, recognize that I do or don't do, right? That was the question.
There anything in your childhood that you noticed, like that you may be at fault for in your relationship now, but you know, when you look back and check yourself going back to your childhood, you recognize like, hold on, this thing, and you know, I haven't let go of that. So now that I know that's what's going on, let me check them. Is there anything that you noticed in your relationship that you had to check yourself on?
Um, yeah, I mean, well, I mean that's a multi-headed dragon right there. Okay, so most of them have to do with my relationship with my kids, though. I have to say that. But as far as my relationship with my wife, initially, yes, because you know how, you know what I'm saying, I was brought up. Um, and just the kind of, you know what I'm saying, the type of verbiage that was used in the household, and you know what I'm saying, you just kind of had to have a little bit of a thick skin. Um, and you know what I'm saying, just real talk, ain't no sugarcoat. And one thing I had to learn, you know, when you enter a relationship with somebody else, everybody's not used to that level of raw. So, as intentionally good as you are, sometimes your tone, you know what I'm saying, just the way that you say stuff sometimes is can be hard on people. Um, so that's one thing I definitely have had to correct. You know, me and Denise been together for 9 years, so that's one thing that was definitely a several year uh, thing in the works. But I think I'm at a point now with that where, you know, we communicate, and she understands my intensity when I need it, and it's not as offensive to her as it was initially. So like when I get passionate talking about, you know, anything like from religion to anything like that, she understands my intensity and my passion now. And, you know, I know how to, when I have a question or a concern, how to come at her without being so abrasive. So that's one thing coming from my childhood, just the way I was taught to. What you on 2 channels?
Yeah, I'm working something out. You
Okay. But yeah, that's one thing. Now, another thing, that same thing kind of goes with the kids as well. You know what I'm saying? Like, uh, you know, just some of the things that I was, you know, uh, had to deal with. I hate to say it like that, but shit, it is what it is. That I had to deal with growing up. You know what I'm saying? I didn't necessarily want to impose on my kids. You know what I'm saying? Not to say that good or bad with that, but I'm just saying sometimes you want to do shit a little different. You know what I'm saying, with your kids. So, um, same thing with the verbiage, choice of words. You know what I'm saying? Things like that. Learning curve with that. It's amazing. Like you're like sometimes your kid could be two, and you'll get frustrated with the stuff that they do, and you'll just be like, I don't understand why this boy keep on doing that. You know what I'm saying? But he 2 years old, so like by the time he 5, and he still, you know what I'm saying, being childish in that way. When you look back, you be like, damn, I was tripping on this nigga when he was 2. You know what I'm saying? Shit like that. So it's a learning thing. You know what I'm saying? You only a first time parent once, so that shit gets better with time. Um, and the last and the most important thing coming from my childhood and relationships that I think, and this one's on a positive tip, is my relationship with my biological father. So, absent from my life, uh, I've met him maybe twice, you know what I'm saying, and see pictures of him and things like that. But, you know, having that void initially, and then my mama obviously remarrying and being the only one without that last name, you know, just that sense of singularity and that sense of being the only one. I'm the only, you know, I'm the only glass. Everybody else is a Duncan. You know what I'm saying? Just that type of feeling, that type of loneliness, uh, made me want to be, you know, the most dedicated, 100% hands-on, never leave my kids behind type of person, instead of continuing to perpetrate, you know, the things and the ways of my biological father. I chose to be the complete opposite. And I made sure, you know, when I was with, you know, my wife, that, you know, no matter what, if we don't work out, me and my kids, they gotta live with me damn near. It was my how I was feeling about it. You know what I'm saying? Like I want to be there every day. You know what I'm saying? Type thing. So there's a lot of things that people bring from their childhood into, yeah, you know, relationships in the adult world as well. Uh, and those are just a few for me.
I definitely didn't see it going that route, but I'm glad you shared everything that you did. Like if I may impart just a little bit from, you know what I mean, watching you growing up, bro, like sometimes I think about some of the things that we consider traumatic. You know what I mean? What is how somebody lived, somebody went through. I often realize from observing these people, what I observe is a sense of resilience, a sense of strength that is developed from not having certain things. Now, don't get me wrong. I do also see where people can be handicapped from not having certain things, but I also seen where certain people didn't allow what they didn't have to limit them. And I definitely say, you know, from your big brother, I definitely feel like you one of those people that um, saw what was in front of you and made the best of your situation. You know what I'm saying? So, with that being said, I want to go in and transition to what you was talking about myself. Like, maybe mine is more in real time, because in real time for me, I'm learning to not be so numb. Um, for me, I felt like it was certain things like for me it was more working on my masculinity in my relationships. Given that, you know, my parents didn't work out to the extent of them being in the same house. It allowed for me to grow mentally because I had a stepfather as well, And observing how he dealt with my mother, this allowed for me to have the option of basically picking and choosing from both of my male figures in my life the things that I wanted to implement as well as work on. My stepfather was always a stickler about a real man controls everything about himself, even his emotions. Um, I from there realized, from trying to control my emotions, I realized that my emotions were merely temperature gauges, something that I need to give further thought to. Um, and from my father, I picked up the ability to communicate with anybody, no matter where I was. I don't really meet too many strangers, but growing up, it was really hard for me to express myself, given I had a complex that I felt nobody was listening to me. So, me thinking nobody's listening to me crippled the way that I express myself. And as far as with my children, mm, I think I need to do better about listening to them. Having this conversation with you is making me think about how much I listen to them and do I listen to them enough. Oftentimes I find myself telling my kids the same things I was told, be seen, not heard, because I'm trying to figure out something, to continue to take care of them. But, we got to make that time at some point throughout the day to at least sit down with them. We sit down and play with them or talk to them, but really, do we ever ask them, like, how do you feel about life? What is life to you? You know what I'm saying? It's almost something that I don't remember being asked as a kid, but I guarantee you, and I can tell you, I had plenty thoughts about life, but I often, held
You
that
ain't
in.
asked about it, did you?
Hell no. Because shoot, if I ask, and I'm laughing because I'm thinking about Raya right now, but I couldn't even ask for, different stuff about the fifth.
Hello. I don't know if you can hear me, bro, but you gone.
Hey, go ahead, bro. I gotta take this call. Give me 1 second.
All right. Well, I don't know what he want me to go on about, but I'll just keep plugging in on the kid aspect or how I feel about that, because to me that's the most important thing. The relationship you have with your kids um, is very important. I mean, we want our kids to look up to us like we superheroes. Uh, Nigga, your kids should be looking at you like you Black Panther. Like that needs to be the image and the thoughts they have about you. You hear me?
Yep.
Yeah. I don't know if you caught it, but I just started going back in. I got some echo. You got your YouTube playing?
Yeah, hold on 1 second.
But yeah.
Damn. I think I had my
What?
volume up too low. How does it
Okay.
sound now?
Yeah, it's cool now. But I was just going back in on the whole thing with our relationship with our kids. I was just telling the people that, your kids should be looking at you like you Black Panther. They should have that type of, admiration for you. You know how these kids running around talking about Black Panther these days. Everybody should be the superhero of their household. You know what I'm saying? And that's something that a lot of us didn't have. or and even some people had and took for granted. But the whole point is, what I'm saying, like we said, like you said, we get so caught up in what we doing sometimes, and we minimize the importance of what they have to say. Um, and it's what I'm saying, it's very important. You know what I'm saying? Like I had to tell Devin, let me rephrase it. I have told Devin that he talked too much. You know what I'm saying? But he ate. You know what I'm saying? It's like where do you draw the line at? They don't have no gauge for that. You know what I'm saying? They talk too much for my tolerance, but do he really talk too much? Now sometimes he do. I ain't gonna lie. Sometimes he'll come out and just say some shit that he just shouldn't be saying. And he don't really have no filter. But ultimately he's 8 years old. You know what I'm saying? Like how does an 8-year-old gauge what's too much talking? And if he talking that much, then that's how he obviously feel. You know what I'm saying? People who don't want to talk don't talk. So obviously he want to talk. So you know what I'm saying? It's just things like that. We got, you know what I'm saying? We got to look at the bigger picture and take ourselves and our personal out of each and every little situation, and let our kids truly blossom organically, and just give them the best chance of being the complete them. Obviously there's some things that we're going to correct, you know what I'm saying, but the main goal is to let them be that free spirit, you know what I'm saying, and just, like I said, develop organically. I don't know, I feel like I'm rambling.
No. You making perfect sense, bro. I mean, and truthfully speaking, it's necessary to let them be that free spirit because
Mm-hmm.
one second. She said something about him delivering. That's her. He said 5 minutes. But it's necessary to let them be their self, given the fact that, I was telling you how it was affecting me in my relationships. The fact that I wasn't able to express myself at times that I wanted to the point it made me in my relationship, I wasn't free with myself. I started lying to people. Started not truly telling people what I feel. Am I coming through clear to you right now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay.
I mean, it's a little spotty here and there, but I'm making it out though.
All right. But it definitely affected my relationships to an extent that I would, being real, you feel me? I would create problems that wasn't there, but it was based on what I was used to. You know what I
Mm.
mean? Motherfucker might be listening to me till she blue in the face. But I swear it down, you not hearing me. You not paying no attention to what I'm trying to tell you. And a lot of times, we get so caught up in our intentions. Another thing going back
Mm.
to my childhood, I used to intend to tell my mother, I'm sorry and why I'm sorry. But a lot of times it was like it's the wrong time and the place for that. You feel me? Um, that's what I attributed it to. Of course, that conversation went a little different. Like, nigga, shut up, stop talking back, da 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 da. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Might proceed to get in more trouble should you persist. And it's still something that maybe I struggle with in my relationships to this day because I still find myself arguing a lot of times from the standpoint of my intent. Well, okay, I understand how you feel about it. I apologize, you know what I'm saying, that you feel that way. Yet my intent was this. And I don't want you to
Mm.
think for 2 seconds that, I maliciously did anything, you know what I'm saying, to hurt you. But I do understand you hurt. Like, I understand that. You know what I'm saying? You never try to write that out.
Yeah.
but it don't change your intention either. You know what I mean? I think a lot of times we forget about that in relationships. That intent does matter. The fact that the outcome is what a lot of us harbor on. It makes me wonder if we really care about each other enough to really figure out like the root of what's going on. A lot of times you walk in the house, you see somebody with their arms crossed, just fucking with you right now. See somebody with their arms crossed, you assume, you feel me? This person's not opening. I mean, not open and not paying attention to nothing else but whatever. You know what I mean? You assume their emotion is. A lot of times when your arms crossed, people assume you angry or some shit. You feel me?
Right.
But even again, with that, it's still left on the okay. I still got to talk to this person. If we be real with ourselves, I still got to talk to this person to find out what their true intent is for the arm crossing or whatever gesture that we assume is, you know what I'm saying, another emotion. And I'm saying that because a lot of times in conversation, I find myself having issue with people because I
Have to
assume.
repeat that last sentence.
I was just saying I was bringing up the gestures and how a lot of times we used to certain things coming from our backgrounds that we assume and react to these assumptions before we even, you know what I'm saying, even realize it.
Oh
This just
yeah, man.
me being real with my goddamn self. Like, and I felt like if you don't have these conversations, you don't have these moments where you really have to question that. Like, yeah, we know we do it within ourselves, but to, be honest with another person, you know what I mean, somebody you trust and shit, just getting it out there, like a lot of times it make it harder for you to continue doing that shit. A lot of us
Hey, and
can go
another
forward and be
thing, if
like,
you'll
this
let me
is me.
plug this in.
Go
Yeah.
ahead.
I was gonna say if you'll let me plug this in real quick. Uh when you said something about dang, I just lost it. Oh,
When
you
I was
talking
talking.
about making assumptions. Uh, you know what I'm saying? That leads to you know what I'm saying, when you make assumptions, but when you the problem with making an assumption is not always with making the assumption. Sometimes the problem is with making the assumption and acting out on that assumption without truly confronting it. So if you come in the house and you think your girl got an attitude or something like that, and then you just go to the room without saying something, type, you know what I'm saying? That type of thing. Like, that's one thing I can go ahead and pride myself about. Now, I'll admit my faults, but one thing I won't do is I won't leave no stone unturned. I guess that ain't the best analogy. I'm gonna confront the bull every time. That ain't the best analogy, but I'm gonna confront the bull every time. Though, like, I hate a lingering
Hey,
situation. You know
all
what
right,
I'm
let me get in right there. Now,
saying?
how do you suggest one confronts the bull? Because when I hear confronts the bull, I think you mean like whatever you feel like is the stoppage in the relationship at that moment, where it's the communication is gonna be affected if we don't, you know what I'm saying, talk about this shit and go forward with the assumption that, hey, shit, you on this shit, I'm on this shit. You know what I mean? Like for me, it's like, how do you approach that? Because I have no problem talking, but given the
Mhm.
backgrounds that we all come from, they all are complicated, complex, yet at the same time, very sensitive situations that you know what I'm saying? I could easily be like, nigga, shit, I come from this, so shit, you gonna respect me like this, but shit, hold on. What this motherfucker come from? You know what I'm saying? Like, you know how people be like,
Mhm.
I love you, but you know what I'm saying? You're not loving me the way that I understand love. So it's like, if a woman understand love coming from a background of not having, for the most part, she gonna attribute love to, somebody making sure she has. You know what
Right.
I mean? And
Right.
until we cross that barrier, it's like we can't build no bonds moving forward. You know what I mean? Like, until a nigga can understand that, hey, she not gonna hear shit you saying not gonna understand nothing you trying to make happen until that shit is completed. Like, and for myself, I might as well
Yeah.
say shit. I'm
I mean,
starting on the journey, but it's not completed. And I even
like,
look for my woman to back up a little bit. You feel me? Like, hold on, bro, I'm doing my, but it's not completed. So
yeah,
as much as I say I love her, I ain't showing it all the way. That's what I'm talking about
yeah.
right there, man. You know what about that?
Oh.
Some men need them. You feel me?
Where you at?
In Cleveland.
But yeah,
Go
I
ahead.
mean,
I'm
yeah,
in the store.
yeah, I feel you on that, and I guess one word that needs to be brought up with that whole little thing you were saying is compatibility. So, um, and I'm not saying, like not necessarily just to your exact point, but there are some people who are in far drastic mind frames than you, and it's important in the early stages of a relationship to recognize these things and to get out before I'm saying too much before shit get too deep. Uh, that's one thing that's important to realize is when it ain't compatible for you. But let's say you in a relationship with somebody and you really want to make it work or whatever, and the shit that they need, like for instance, like what you said about having things, say they're a little bit more materialistic than what care for, what you can afford even. You have to find a way to make that compromise. I know that shit sounds cliche, but I mean, there's just no way around it. You know what I'm saying? You can't. I mean, it's a relationships. It's relating with someone else. So when you are expecting all of anything coming from another person, that's where you messed up from the jump. If you go into it expecting all of anything from one person, you have a misconception of what a true relationship is. It's not about somebody that completely satisfying your every single thing, your every want and need. You need to find somebody who's gonna get you damn close. But as far as like being that all, nobody's gonna be that all. And if they are that all, I guarantee that you ain't that all to them. Like there's no way possible. You know what I'm saying, that y'all are both 100% compatible with each other.
Right.
All the time, every day. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
I
it's
think
always
it
gonna
boiled down
be.
to why. Like you said earlier, you went through some stuff in your childhood that wasn't comfortable for you. Some people get comfortable in just complaining to a point they don't realize they done created a comfort zone of shit to complain about. You know what I'm saying? And you making your why that shit. I don't want my child to, ever feel this sense of it's just me. You know what I mean? Carrying the weight of this name. It's just me got to carry on this legacy. And I don't even know where to start. You know what I mean? Nor begin because the beginning don't sound all that great. So it's almost
Mm,
like you said, going all the way back to what you said with the Black Panther reference. You gotta remember that you already are that superhero to your child. And it's like starting off with an A. You feel me? You
mm-hmm.
gotta maintain
Yeah.
that A
Exactly.
because everything you do, they feel like it's the greatest shit ever. Like, I sit down with my kids a lot of times and just trip off of that, but I know, because I know how I looked at my father and I still look at him that way. Regardless to,
Mm,
what may come up or what, people may think like, dang, hold on, I remember how they was when he was a kid. I feel like maybe they should be closer. Like, a lot of times people are close when what I'm saying, when it's necessary. Um, and I feel like there might be another necessary time. You know what I mean? But like right now, for me, I do better when it comes to like, the family I grew up in. And like, bro, I love my sisters.
You feel me? Like, you know that shit. Like, I love me some Toya and some Shonda, Princess, but it's like the distance that was created between us, not through nobody's fault. You know what I'm saying? If anything, she put that shit on me because I went out in the world and was like, man, I got to figure out where I stand in the world. You know what I mean? What made me me?
Yeah.
And growing up being the only male in the family, I kind of can understand where you coming from when it comes to that sense of loneliness. Like, I didn't talk about a lot of things just because I didn't feel like nobody would understand the shit after a while. You know what I mean? Sitting back listening to other people for so long and hearing their grievances and their standpoint, I developed those same standpoints to an extent. Or I made it my duty to make sure that I conquer that shit within myself to where when I get in a relationship, if a woman say a man don't listen, shit, I don't even get to talk in this motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? So I'm listening. You hear me? Uh,
Mm-hmm.
I had that shit down pat to a point. I listen so much that now that I'm hitting my 30s, I hear a lot of shit that I've allowed to be said about me. I've allowed to be said about life, and I don't like it a lot of times. You feel me? I hear a lot of people that go back to what I was saying earlier. They find comfort in complaining. The CCs. You feel me? Nigga, they see a complaint, they gonna let you know.
Yeah.
But for me, I like problems too, just because I like solving shit. I developed confidence from that. My ability to figure something out.
Mm-hmm.
So if it ain't a problem, you know what I'm saying, I guess. And my issue now is, recognizing that if you can say it's an issue, now I recognize that, it's never gonna be an end all be all. I thought shit, if Pops would have came back home at some point, everything be good. Like, man, that day he come through the door, everything gonna be straight. I promise y'all. You know what I'm saying? But the mere fact that it didn't ever happen showed me that, like, some things happen for the better. But once you learn to appreciate certain situations, you can see what's in it for you rather than carrying that shit around. Now, this gonna lead into the next topic. Um, I felt like being a child, there are certain things that adults did to try to dim my father's light or even dim my mother's light that I ain't appreciate. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I wanna, go on record to say, like, anybody listening to this shit, you got anything to say bad about somebody, mama, somebody, daddy, don't say that shit to their child.
Not to their
Cause
child.
it's never gonna go the way you thinking. Whether your intentions is to, try to be there for that person and try to shelter them from the later hurt that you feel like they're gonna experience, you gotta let them develop that relationship with they parent. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of times
Yeah.
I recognize that the distance came from the shit that I heard from other people
Yeah.
to the point, me taking into account my father's characteristics and personality. He's never been the type of person to force himself on nobody. So, you know what I mean? For anybody to sit back and wait on him to come get you, you out your motherfucking mind. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just not how he functioned. Not to say that he's not compassionate. One of the most compassionate men I ever met. Like, when people be
Mm-hmm.
trying to talk all that shit about me, I be like, boy, you don't know where I come from. You know what I'm saying? Like, I wouldn't be this way if it wasn't for my father loving on me and showing me that, hey, a man ain't gotta just be rough and tough, but he also showed me through the times when I did feel like he was numb or he wasn't expressing himself in the ways that I may have felt like he should have. He showed me you gotta find your way and you gotta find what worked for you. Sometimes you can't show your emotions to people because they gonna use it against you. And I don't know if that's necessarily where he was coming from with it, but that's what I learned because a lot of people use my emotions against me, given the fact that I am very sensitive. Um, this
Yeah.
same sensitivity led me to do things that cause hurt to other people. So leading into the next
Yeah.
topic, everybody
Hold on,
always talking about. Go
before
ahead,
you
man.
go into the next topic, before
What's
you go
up?
into what's
What
good.
up, Cuzzo? Hey, mute your mic real quick. Hold on, real quick, Marvel.
Fix it.
Good to see you, nigga.
Oh, you too,
Go ahead,
cuz.
man.
But yeah, I was just saying before you go into that next topic though, it's important what you said though. Whatever kind of view you have about such and such daddy or such and such mama, don't never bring the kid in and start your daddy this, your daddy that, or anything like that because man, it's you know what I'm saying, you have no idea the effect. Like kids don't process the shit the same as you know what I'm saying, as adults can. So you know what I'm saying, like if you tell them 1 plus 2 is 4, you know what I'm saying, they really not gonna have no reason to not believe you because in their eyes you the adult. You know what I'm saying, until they get to a point to where they can really disprove that shit that 1 plus 2 is actually 3, they gonna ride with it. 1 plus 2 is 4. And the same thing happens in a relationship with a child, you know what I'm saying, who can't be with their parent. If you tell them something, that's what they riding with because they counting on you as the bigger person to, you know what I'm saying, be leading them in the right direction. They don't assume that kids don't come out assuming that somebody could be misleading them. You feel what I'm saying?
True,
Yeah, yeah.
true.
All right, Cuzzo. What up with your man?
Man,
I didn't know if you was gonna come through. You came in just in time. We finna get to the nitty
well,
gritties.
well, I'm
Oh
here.
shit, you beat me to it? You beat me to it? Oh shit. Did you beat me to it?
I'm here.
You shining? You shining from the nose? Anyway, let me chill out. But the next subject I wanted to swing right into because through us talking about all these different effects and from my childhood up until now how we deal with relationships. One thing also we got to take into account one of the main hot topics is cheating. And for me, I'm gonna say
Run it back, bro. Run it back.
all right, I'm gonna say that again. One of the main hot topics in relationships, especially within the black community, is cheating.
All right.
I know it go on in every other community, but you know what I'm saying. One of the main things we find comfort in complaining about is cheating. I'm gonna say my feedback uh, towards the end of the conversation because I feel like I definitely got a different outlook on that. Given I'm gonna go right back into my childhood with my shit, start from the from the beginning into how I feel now, but I want to get your perspective. Like, why do you feel like the main reason for cheating from the man's perspective? Why do men cheat and mess around and leave their family? And then cause we can't really. I mean,
Yeah.
we can talk from the woman perspective, maybe what we seen with our mothers, but that's still gonna be some, you know what I mean, outside looking in type of thing. Even though we the children, but
Yeah.
as a man,
Just
why you
let
feel like most men cheat?
you gonna let
Cheating
You
to
gonna
Marvin.
pop it
me,
out, cuz yeah, let him
Yeah.
get in there.
cheating to me, I would say I wouldn't know because on on that level, I'm always honest with any woman that if pretty much I step out upon any woman, I'm always straightforward. That I'm either falling out of love or I'm falling out
Hey,
of love.
hold on, cuz Mel, can you put your mic on mute? See if he won't get no feedback. I'm hearing a little feedback.
Who me?
Yeah,
All right, my bad.
you good? Go ahead, more.
But I'm always straightforward with a woman when I either fall out of love with her or I fall out of sexual with her or something like that. But for another man to talk about another man why they cheat, the only thing I can come up with is some man they just not really just they just not really used to telling the truth about nothing. So they gotta lie and did themselves into more lies and did themselves into more lies. And then another scenario I can come up with is some man they used to living the old way to where they saw how the old days how they used to have multiple wives this, multiple wives that. But then if that is the case, then why it's like they failing to understand that the reason why men back in the day did such a thing was is because they could take care of more than one wife. And the thing is, if you can take care of more than wives, then that's your business. But the thing about it is, don't get you a woman who's not used to that lifestyle of having multiple wives. Cause some women they don't like that. Some women they do, some women they don't. But I mean, but that's what I see, and that's what I think of that subject, that topic.
All right, that was great feedback, Marvino. What you got, Mello? You on mute? Take yourself off mute, love. Mel, take yourself off mute.
My bad. Can you
All
hear
right,
me?
you good? Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say he's spot on with it though, cause you know what I'm saying. That's the whole thing, man. It's all about honesty. You know what I'm saying? Like he said, man. Some women is with you know what I'm saying, with this shit, and some of them ain't. And everybody don't have monogamy in their bones like that. I think I said that shit before. Like everybody is, it just ain't in everybody's nature to just be with one person. It just ain't. You know what I'm saying? We can sit here and act like that's supposed to be the way, but that ain't true. And you know what I'm saying? So now we looking at, and another thing he said, some people just used to lying. Like some people got that shit bad. They just motherfucking lie. And you know what I'm saying? That obviously, you know what I'm saying, is a, like, okay, if you want one thing, and like say I'm just gonna throw names out there because it just make it easy. Say you want Keisha, right? But then you like Ashley too. But you know Keisha is not going, but you ain't willing to give up Keisha. So it's just easy for you to just lie and just to get both of what you want. So then at that point, you know what I'm saying, we gotta realize that selfishness is what's playing a role in the reason why people cheat. They you know what I'm saying, they want what they want, you know what I'm saying, and they gonna do what they gotta do to get what they want. You know what I'm saying? Uh so yeah, everything bro just said spot on, you know what I'm saying? But if everybody I think ultimately just be truthful, you know what I'm saying, in any situation, and if you go into your relationships, um and you seeking out the people that fit your needs, then it's gonna be easier to have success in these relationships. You know what I'm saying? So if you know that you can't just be with one person, then why would you ever be seeking out that type of individual to be in a relationship with? You need to be look for the freaks. I'm just saying, like, you know what I'm saying? I ain't trying to be derogatory in that statement, but that's, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? That's just what how
Nah,
I
I
feel
feel
about
you.
it. Yeah, I mean, because I don't think there's nothing wrong with being freaky like that. You know what I'm saying? It's because that's your nature. Some people are asexual. Some people don't have sex at all. So, like, if
Mm-hmm.
you extra with your shit, then that's just who you are. But you got to be real about it, though, instead of, you know what I'm saying, dragging people into holes that they don't want to be drug into.
Right,
You know what
right,
I'm saying?
right.
It's almost that simple. Um, Now, as far as like cheating on wives, you know what I'm saying? It's gonna vary from each person.
Mm-hmm.
Like some people like me who just feel like, if I was gonna cheat, you know what I'm saying, I would just dump your ass. Like I don't have no reason to. to do that. To me, I just you know what I'm saying, I just don't have no reason to do it. But then I do understand people who, you know what I'm saying, don't have they don't handle certain situations as well. And you know what I'm saying, I just want to get topped off at work. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying, to help me deal with my stress at home. You know what I'm saying? I don't think it's right. But I'm just saying that but that's how some people think though. You know what I'm saying?
You right.
You know what I'm saying? That's how some people think. But you know what I'm saying? It's just like ultimately, are you putting something that you really want and that you really need at risk? And is it worth the risk? You know what I'm saying? Most people gonna
Mm-hmm.
say it ain't worth the risk. Like the little J. Cole say little J. Cole song, the little Kevin Hart song, he say, want another cake. He said, wanna have my cake and another cake too, even if the baker don't bake like you. You know what I'm saying? So
Right,
it's
right.
just you know what I'm saying? We just gotta be smart, you know what I'm saying, and don't enter these relationships with people if you don't think you can handle the heat in the long run. If you can't weather the storm, then you just ain't ready to, you know what I'm saying, to especially if you're talking about a settle down type of relationship, you ain't ready to settle down. Just don't 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 get into it before you're ready. It's just I mean it's
Man.
just you know what I'm saying? Yeah.
All right. Now I like how y'all dealt with that. Now you know I gotta do y'all like a school teacher do. You know, a school teacher be like, here's the question. And then she come from a whole nother perspective. You be like, yeah, I would have thought of that too, but you didn't say that shit. But I ain't gonna go that far left. I'm just gonna start with what y'all was dealing with. Cuz was building on, you know, he's touched on the ancient times. And for me, when you go into ancient times, we dealing with culture. You know, at one point in time, each ethnicity or each grouping, you feel me, which is holding to pieces of their culture nowadays, we all had a culture that was intact. So if we go back into the ancient times, one of the first groups that I heard of, you know, in the Bible was, you know, the Ethiopian people or Africans, you know what I'm saying, having multiple wives. And this was in a system that wasn't no different than what we live in today. If we deal with, you know, Kemet or any of the many nations that come up out of Africa, they dealt with finances as well. And even the finances that we deal with today, that shit is backed by the same shit. You know what I'm saying? It's backed by land and resources, just like it was in those times. So a lot of times I hear people say, you know, if you can afford it, to me, I feel like as a people, we can't afford not to come together. And one of the most basic ways to come together, if you can't come together in your house, shit, fuck coming out this motherfucker front. You feel me? Like, and it's a lot of people ain't willing to come together with you because you don't care nothing about their household. Like, they get the concept of support your people, come together, and we'll be better for that shit. But nigga, at the end of the day, motherfucker ain't gonna support you as simple as, nigga, what's the bottom line for my household? Now, when we talking about these relationships, if you know, we as men realize that a lot of times, you know, we want to be associated with a term or title or something, but that title comes with a responsibility. Um, I'm realizing I ain't become a man until I start handling my responsibility. Yeah, I was of age to be able to do so, but I wasn't a man until I put forth the action. So when I think about that as well, going back into the relationships and the cheating question, I feel like one thing that we got to take into account is, are we willing to come on board and put in the work? Like, you know what I mean? Like, money wouldn't even be no issue. You got enough people. You got enough people. Everybody bring a little something, something to the table. Nobody got to be rich. You feel me? But as a collective, we rich because we come together. So it's like for me, we gotta go back into our culture with that shit in order for us to really get past this cheating shit because I feel like it's another culture being impressioned on us to make us even consider this conversation. Like cheating comes from a different cultural standpoint. Bro, I can't remember one history book I done read about where they were talking about this king fell because he cheated on such and such. or such and such got caught cheating. Like I don't hear that shit because it wasn't like I can't say oh when nobody doing nothing, when nobody you know what I'm saying stepping outside their relationship. But I felt like it was a clear cut understanding that look, bruh, we do what's best for the whole, not just what's best for me. So as long as what you doing is best for the whole, the only cheating would be to cheat yourself. Like I don't know. And I'm not saying that from an immature standpoint of, oh man, you would be cheating yourself if you don't go out here and grab every nook and cranny you can get your ass in. I ain't saying that. I'm saying from a perspective of building a nation. From a perspective of building a nation, if that's your vision, to limit yourself in this building, it's not gonna turn into what you thought you was looking for. Um, in order to build an empire, you're gonna need many hands on deck. So to try to put all of that on two people, you know what I'm saying? You would kind of be putting a lot. I mean, too much pressure. You know what I'm saying? But not to say it's not possible, because I'm pretty sure there was kingdoms where there wasn't multiple wives, and but we got this perspective of a man having multiple wives when it's really a wife, it's wives having a husband. Whereas the situation is you got multiple women out here with no husband. So it's like the narrative is being switched from different cultures. Like when other cultures is telling us how to feel about our shit, and we start talking about our shit from that perspective, we even addressing it from that perspective. Versus shit, nigga, is this shit beneficial to them? Is this something we did as a people? You know what I'm saying? In these same similar times, like we at war. So even when we was thriving, and even when we was not thriving, we used poly situations to help us rebuild. And given the situation we in here in America, it's like I can't justify not. Other than like y'all said earlier, you know, it ain't for everybody. Some people may have not risen maturity levels, or some people are like, you know, you got certain signs that are fixed, and you got certain people that are gifted in certain areas. There's room for everybody to do their part, but you know, we can't judge other people for doing things that we wouldn't deem necessary. Like you were saying, some people may be asexual in their mentality. Like they ain't really just all in the sex like that. They'll do it every now and then for the pleasure of someone else, but it's not necessarily what's on their mind. But when you got that gift of reaching people a certain way, um, you can't limit yourself when shit you keep on talking about, hey, shit, people out here feeding into this, buying into sex. They all about this. Okay, but you got the gift to, you know what I'm saying, to utilize that shit for good, and you instead you just let everybody else utilize that shit for evil. At that point it's like, what's really going on? You know what I'm saying? Are you know what you seem like you got something to say, bro. What you got?
Actually, I was going to say something on that. When you said that the that nobody actually knew about it. But the reason why nobody don't never actually knew about it back in the day versus this new generation is cause I mean, look at us now. Every time you and your partner do something, the first thing you do, post it on Facebook, post it on social media, broadcast it. I mean, every time something happen in a relationship, post it on social media, Facebook, Twitter. All he did is he did, and he ain't shit, or he do something good, or she do something good. Oh, she did shit. I love her. I love her. I love him. I love him. But and then, and I ain't gonna talk about the show Cheaters. That's the number one media, social media thing that that they really putting out in the air. That hey, I mean, if they catch them cheat, they gonna go right. Some of them is gonna go right back. But the thing about it is, if you gonna go right back, don't even broadcast it. I mean, don't even find out. with a media crew. Deal with it yourself. Why do you need to go snooping? Have somebody else go snooping, and have them all in your business. And then once you find out, people's gonna be looking at you dumb. Like, okay. I mean, now at first you was talking either all bad or all good about them, and now it's vice versa. It's like, come on now. If you want a successful relationship, nobody needs to know. And pretty much it proves a point. That's my mom and my daddy is an example. Being married, it got married when I first was born, and been married still to this day, 38 years. But the only reason why they still together in from what I believe is they didn't broadcast their stuff. They didn't let the world know they bads or they goods. And that's where we is messing up. Is we feel like we gotta let everybody know our bads and our goods. And if you want people to know your bad and good, then pretty much you letting someone else slip in if you going through a bad. You letting someone slip in right there at the door. So if you don't want nobody to slip in, you might as well not broadcast it. Cause after you let them know, that's giving them the option to do what they want to do now. Never let the world know. Cause media, it may think it's your friend, but at the end of the day, it's not your friend. And that goes to show for another topic. Pac. Marvin Gaye, Michael Jackson. Just to name a few. Martin Luther King, Jesus. Well, I don't know about that whole topic though.
Jesus did
But
keep his
you know.
relationship secret too. You feel me? He kept that a total secret.
I
Well, at
don't know.
least the Bible kept it secret. The
Yeah,
perspective
I
we
was
was
gonna say.
given.
I don't know if he kept it a secret if somebody else did.
Yeah, because he kind of did let it be known. She was like one of the only female disciples.
Yeah,
So
they, they had kids.
they made sure to let you know she wiped his feet with her hair.
Mhm.
Ain't nobody gonna do
Hey,
that shit unless that's your old lady. Come on now.
uh,
man. But one thing I wanted to plug in because y'all was talking about from a cultural standpoint. So
Yeah.
you said something about kingdoms and things like that. Um, and this is not to go against your point or anything like that, but my whole question is should should a kingdom even exist? So like why do you have to flex your authority over the masses? You see what I'm saying? Because when you have a kingdom, now there's nothing wrong with protecting your property. You know what I'm saying? But you know what I'm saying, if the golden rule is in effect and if natural law is in effect, don't nobody need a kingdom because there's enough on this earth for everybody. So if and I'm just coming from that perspective because you know where I stand on that. But um, if you don't have no need to assert your authority over the next human being, then there's no need for you to have in the kingdom anyway. So, um, and all I'm saying to that point is just you know what I'm saying. Uh, I don't see there's anything wrong with a king having multiple wives, just like I don't see nothing wrong with a peasant having multiple wives. Like Marvin said, can you provide for those wives and for those kids that you have? And
also
are
just make
you
the
what?
woman know
Yeah,
too.
let them know. And are you having all of the kids for the sole purpose of increasing your numbers? Because you know what I'm saying,
Family
situationally,
DNA.
I can understand that, like, if you in a situation where, like, You know what I'm saying? You feel like there's, the possibility that your livelihood and your settlement is gonna be, what I'm saying, challenged in the future, and you need the numbers. You know what I'm saying? Like you said, I wouldn't even consider that cheating. You know what I'm saying? Like you said, that's
I
the
mean,
betterment of the whole.
that's
You know what
not
I'm
cheating.
saying?
That's
Right now, that ain't even
though,
cheating,
really.
because
I mean,
cheating is when you go
if you
against.
doing it within the reproduction reproduction of your DNA, your family, then I mean, pretty much it's not cheap because it's
Yeah,
like
cheating just
I
when you
mean,
go against an agreement.
uh, that goes back to the Bible
I
verse
agree
in
on that.
Genesis. And well, who Sarah and Abraham it was I think or I think it was either Jacob or Sarah. I think that was it. Jacob or Sarah. How like I mean Sarah couldn't have no children. And so I mean, she pretty much lets Jacob, after a while of trying, I mean, have a sex with their bridesmaids, and then after the bridesmaids had the child, then pretty much that's when Sarah got pregnant.
Yeah, she did let him, step out with the handmaiden, and just to go back to your point, like, um, I feel like, yeah, all that is definitely something that got to be taken into account. Like, no man should be trying to take this on without thinking responsibly. To think that I need to be able to at least be willing to provide for this family, because that's the first thing. You know what I mean? Like, a lot of people got money. A lot of people may have the resources or the wherewithal to think about this, but the responsibility mentally means to consider other people's feelings, consider how somebody else is gonna take this, regardless to your intention. Going back to what we was talking about earlier, sometimes I get so caught up in my intentions that I forget to take into account how other people may feel. You know what I mean? So even when it comes to addressing that, when it's brought to my attention, it's hard for me to, deal with it at that point, because I haven't even taken it into account. But when I do take it into account before I do things, I'm like, shit, you see, this why I did it different this way, because remember, any other time I would do it this way. So, this why I curved my actions a little bit, because the last time I did that, it didn't work out so well. So, I can easily point out where I took somebody in consideration. Yeah, it still might not be the consideration or the level of consideration they might not have liked it to be, but somebody would definitely, you know what I'm saying, respect the fact that you at least thought about them more than you getting it all the way right. Nobody perfect. We not gonna understand what make each other tick all the time, but to at least be considered is all we ask for in these relationships. As far as the culture go, like, I wanted to address that. Like, once we get into culture, we really gotta address, like, the fact, or what group of people we talking about, like, and what group of people do we identify as, each one of us. You know what I mean? So that kind of determines what kind of family structure you'll be willing to build, and what kind of mental stability that you have to develop. Because don't get me wrong, me speaking from a person that come from a poly background now, like, it wasn't something that I just chose. Honestly, I feel like it was bestowed on me to be able to see a problem and be like, man, you know what? This is the same problem I faced growing up, rather than to become part of the problem. You know what I'm saying? I said, you know what? I'm gonna get in front of that shit, and I'm not gonna keep on being the same product of the same situation over and over and over and over. And it's only until you decide to be like, you know what in my culture did we used to do to combat this shit? And the reason why I said it didn't come up, because within our culture, we certain villages practice poly, and I would say for the majority, because it's one of the oldest forms of relationship. So when you think about that, it's like, of course, it's not going to be a cheating conversation when that's what they practicing. And if that's what they started off practicing, it's like, how can you even think outside of that to be like, man, you doing this? You know what I'm saying? If this is what we all know to be how we live, I can't think outside to say you being unfair in this situation.
Well,
I can
look at
only think within the parameters of poly and be like, oh, hold on, you did this for this wife, but you didn't do this for this wife. You know what I'm saying?
But
let me plug something in real quick
the
though.
thing about that is,
Go ahead.
it's like, okay, each wife that they had, 9 times out of 10, they wanted something different. Because
Right.
I mean, cause,
Everybody different.
or basically, if you want somebody to be, I mean, or if you want them all to be the same, then you try to end up like, I mean, that movie Acrimony, I mean, I
Right.
mean, he gave another woman her dream, and guess what? I mean, she just fucked his ass
Reference.
up. I mean, but you
Right.
don't give another woman's dream, because that's like giving something that they want to
Ooh.
cherish.
Ooh, you touched on some shit
So
right there.
basically, you gotta give that that woman her dream along with pretty much that other woman her dream.
Hey, let me preface that before Melvin go in. And I feel like you prefacing that for within poly because a lot of these brothers get caught up in trying to be uniform with the poly situation and be like, okay, I bought this woman this, I'm about this same woman, I mean this next woman the same thing. And honestly, I feel like that's why they have issues within poly as well as a lot of women ain't even with that shit because they like you said, the thing that they cherish, you sharing that. You know what I mean? Rather than all right, taking into account what make that woman tick, what make her feel like life is worth living, and you give that to her. Go to the next woman, take into account what make her tick, what make life worth living to her, and you give that to her. You can't necessarily do the same thing across the board, except
Yeah,
be willing to commit to that situation.
yeah, because I mean, because pretty much when it comes to dreams, all women are different on what kind of dream they want for their life.
Right, the
I
way they
mean,
go
just
about
like a
getting it.
man. I mean,
Yeah,
a man got different dreams from another man. I mean, everybody is not gonna want the same dreams, but at the end of the day, we are all alike when it comes to, living out of the human flesh and the human spirit.
right, right.
But
So go.
it's just the dreams and pretty much opinions is the only thing that's pretty much different.
And when I hear you say dreams, the way a nigga want to go about doing that shit, you know what I'm saying? Cause we on amount of functions, so we all do the same things just at different times for different reasons. What was you finna say, bro? Mev?
Yeah. Man, I'm trying to remember what my point was. Let me see.
I'm gonna give you some time.
Yeah, go ahead, man, because I'm sitting here conversating. I forgot what you had said that I wanted to touch on.
I
Uh,
try to recap a little bit. Me and Marvin will bounce it back and forth, but as far as like relationships go, when it comes to that, the poly thing, like we got to make sure we don't blur the lines because, like I was trying to get to, as far as culturally, and I think that's what Melvin wanted to talk about. Culturally, like I feel like there may have been certain people within our culture that wasn't necessarily like the Deion Sanders of poly, but
Oh yeah, I remember what I was gonna say now. Okay,
all right,
so
go ahead.
yeah, I was gonna say I think it's one thing to look back at a culture and admire the things that was going on, and then I think, you know what I'm saying, but I don't think that, you know what I'm saying, was gonna work for everybody. So just because they was doing it don't mean that it's gonna be, just because it worked for them don't mean it's gonna work in today's situation. Not to say that it won't work, but I wholeheartedly believe that there ain't no handbook on life. You know what I'm saying? It's up for each individual, their situation, to figure it out and do what's best for them. So you know what I'm saying? Like, it may have been a widespread practice, but we know that people go with trends as well, and always have. So just because we see it was popping, that don't mean that it was necessarily the most uh, or the best way of going about, uh, a sexual lifestyle. Like there may have been a reason why the shit came to an end. You know what I'm saying? For certain cultures. Uh, at the same time, it could have the reason could have been good for them or bad for them. Um, but I'm just saying to look at it, and I'm not saying for you, but I'm saying for others out there. I'm just putting it out there. Don't look at what somebody else was doing, in my opinion, and say I'm gonna do it because they was doing it. You know what I'm saying? Do it because it's right for you. Is all I'm saying.
Nah, I totally
Yes,
agree.
you
That's
gotta
why I
do
said
what's right.
earlier it got to be bestowed on you. You know what I mean? Like for me, it was more or less bestowed on me from like the different things in my childhood that I seen growing up, as far as having conversations with my fathers, and each one giving me different perspectives. It's the path that I was led on, as well as the experiences I had in my own relationships. One of my first two relationships, shit, the two young ladies I was dealing with took it up on themselves to tell me I was gonna go with both of them. You know what I mean? So when you keep having these occurrences in your life, it get to a point you gotta stop. Like, and we're not just talking about, for me, it's more than sexual for me. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, motherfucker might get caught up in that sexual shit because they trying to refrain from it, or they got a certain tainted image of it. But for me, it starts mentally. Um, if mentally, for one, I can't envision myself messing with you. You know what I mean? My mother always told me, never be involved with a woman that you can't see yourself being with forever. So any woman I've ever had an encounter with, in my head, I thought I was gonna be with them forever. You know what I mean? And that's how I dealt with the relationship, and
Yeah,
that's how I address my relationship. So with
yeah.
that being said, it made me look like a fool a lot of times, but it don't change the fact I can say my credentials is my sincerity. Um, I sincerely seek to help my people any way that I can, and for me, Polly was a situation where we participated in this thing when we was thriving and when we was dismantling. So much so to the people that still participate in it, I mean, the people that still participating in it today still have the majority of their culture intact, more so than I would say for the overall of the people that are of the African diaspora. The people that's outside of Africa, that's outside of their culture and their normal practices. And yes, there's no set handbook, but there are certain ways that you can do things that would be more conducive to life. Um, oftentimes, we develop these different things to complain about, and not realize we also created these same things.
I know what I'm gonna say.
So, that's why I keep going back to culture, and it just so happens this happens to be one of the main strongholds of the culture that helps us know when to eat, when to procreate, when to move around as far as location. You know what I mean? All of these things are necessary in today's time. These are the same things that we suffer because we winging that shit to an extent. And I do understand how things can become trendy, but shit, man, I sat back and nigga, I prayed for days like this. You feel me? I done had conversation after conversation about how this day would be when everybody is talking about consciousness, and it's the
Yeah.
coolest shit on the block. You feel me? Rather than
But
being a dumbass.
but then again,
Not to say anybody else is a dumbass. Let me preference that. You know what I'm saying?
but then again, when you, you was talking about life and it ain't no no like
No
no
handbook.
yeah no handbook to live life. That could be a agreeable thing and a disagreeable thing. Yeah, it ain't no handbook to guide your life, but it is handbooks and also some good shows and movies in this new generation that could, you know, put you on another road to how you want to make your how you dream your life will be, and to actually read and see another person living that exact same life but not almost quite your life. it's like it makes you want to just, study how they are achieving this, and then you reform it into your own life and pretty much make your life prosper as well as theirs is. But and that's why I say it's always good to study how, good, successful, positive minded people actually did things, because that right there, you that's that's how pretty much any person that wants to be successful would, is good for them, because to just read about it or just watch about it is pretty much, just got you thinking that, hey, maybe I do need to add this opportunity to my life, because that one passage did say that through all things which strengthens me, I can do all things which strengthens me. You can do
Preach,
all
mother.
things. So basically, you can do what they did to get to where they at.
You did.
It's just, you just got to put it into your life, your dreams, and
Right.
run with it.
And a lot of people don't act on it because they don't have the confidence to act on the different solutions they see that they can, you know what I mean, they can provide. Like I said, it I agree with y'all. It may not be for everybody because for me, I come from a background of, forcefully being converted to some shit, you feel me? So I don't try to force nothing on nobody. I felt like any solution should be a natural progression. What you finna say, bruh?
Yeah, and I was gonna say that's what I kind of meant when I said there is no handbook. I didn't mean that you can't, you know what I'm saying, learn from others. I simply meant it in
You meant
there's
like
no
we
one
ain't
right.
fixated.
Yeah, there's no one right way to do anything. So don't see what somebody's doing and take it as that's what I need to be doing. Analyze what they're doing and apply it as appropriate. That's all.
Yeah.
As well too though, like, when you was saying with the handbook thing, like going into what Marvin was saying too, like, yeah, there is no set handbook, you know what I mean? We not fixated into none of this shit. But I do feel like, and through my experience I realized that you can go about life trying to, find a different way to do shit on everything if you want to. But some shit, you know what I mean? Uh they already made a wheel for it. You feel me? Like, so why don't you just ride the wave? Like, okay, for me, for instance, like I got a certain um journey that I seek to take. You know what I mean? So of course I make certain decisions based on that. So I would tell a person the difference between a right and a wrong decision is when you make a decision that's not getting you closer to your destination. So if I say I want to be at the store in 5 minutes, if I'm still sitting here in 5 minutes, you feel me? That was a bad decision. I'm not making a decision that's progressive towards what I say I want. But I keep on saying that shit, keep saying that shit. And to me, that's wrong. Like, to even entertain others with that bullshit, to even entertain yourself with that shit is wrong. But a lot of that comes from us not having the confidence to act on that shit based on the shit we went through in our childhood and the shit that we still replicating in our relationships. And I feel like a lot of that stems from, for me as a man, I felt like, you see my perspective is different. I feel like, if I got multiple wives, nah, that's not the way to put that shit. That's the wrong way to say that. I said like wives have a husband, whereas they wouldn't have a husband. Versus, you know what I mean? Just, hey, bro, I
Yeah.
got it like this. Like that's the
But
wrong way to look at that. That's the
but
wrong way,
but the thing about it is,
cause that
what
ain't my
is,
goal,
man? But what is a husband though?
right?
See, and that's where the definition gets tricky, cause you hear about this definition, you hear about this definition, but what is a real true husband? What
But
is
to
a
me,
real?
that's when culture come into place. That's why I keep on going back to that. Like, one thing a motherfucker can't do is deny the fact that we all got some kind of culture. And even if you don't want to go back to your culture, shit, I don't, I man, I feel like I've researched enough I've experienced enough life to know that everything leads to one thing. And that just means life is a circle. You know what I mean? It's a cycle. So with that being said, I'm not scared to tell my people, hey, man, go out here and check out every culture.
But
Go
I
out here and check out every motherfucking culture. And then
but
pick out what worked for you. You know what I'm saying? Through what's working. Not what used to work. You know what I'm saying? Like motherfuckers is still participating in what we talking about right now today. And these people thriving. Some of the issues that we face in our household, these people ain't dealing with. And for me, it came down to as a man letting go of that whole ownership type of thing. And not to say that's what anybody else's stronghold is,
but I
but hold on, bro, real quick. Let me get this in. When you got that whole ownership complex of this is mine. For me, poly allowed me to let go of that shit. Like it allowed me to be like, man, at the end of the day, as sure as I'm talking about having multiple wives, you got to be responsible enough within your true self to be like, man, how would you feel if your wife had multiple husbands? Because you got to entertain all of these perspectives when you're trying to find a real solution. And
yeah.
if that's not conducive, then guess what? You're going to lean more to a different form of poly than somebody else who that might be more conducive. But you got to do what work for your grouping. And for me, it was like freeing myself. You know, I wanted my wife to only be mine, but shit, it's a good chance that my wife and a second wife might click more than me and her. So guess what? A lot of that conversation we used to have ain't gonna happen no more. So you got to kill that selfishness in order to even do this shit on any level. You know what I mean? Otherwise, you just gonna be bringing people into more bullshit,
Yeah.
bringing people into more bullshit. And for me, that's what I've learned from participating in it. And yeah, at the moment, some of the people I participated with, they not here no more. And it's because of a difference in where we trying to go with this shit. At one point in time, I felt like it was okay to do a poly relationship with anybody who understands the concept. Anybody who understands the concept. You feel me?
But
But it's deeper than that. Just like when it comes to the first time you met a girl, you thought she could be your girlfriend just because she was a girl. You had to realize, hold on, I like certain shit about girls. You feel me? So then it comes back to into that, and that's why I'm trying to get to the point of everything I'm having this conversation about is the fact of the complexities of relationships and how as much as we want to separate our relationship from the government and all of this type of shit, it affects our relationship because it affects how we culturally practice what we do. I mean, practice within our household. Like what we culturally practice within our household, whether it's love, all of that shit, love, hate, all of those are intentions. The actions that come before that shit is what we see.
yeah.
So when you think about that shit, it's like, hold on, bro. They got us so broken up to the point we don't even know what's right for us to do to get where we say we want to go. Because we don't have the culture to pull from to be like, hey, shit, you start here, you get here. And once you get there, you gotta go here. You know what I'm saying? So as much as we say there is no handbook, we might need to create one.
Or I was
Because
gonna say on the other hand, I was gonna say on another hand, we do have the culture to pull from. It's just the wrong one.
I mean, yeah, and that come into play because what's enforced on us. You know what I'm saying? Like we
It's a
got
culture
certain
of
laws we
yes,
gotta follow, so that make us culturally practice shit that we might not do if we went under this.
And
exactly. But
then
but the laws in and of itself are part of the culture. You see what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah. No, I got you. Did they intertwine the action
Yeah.
and the like? As sure as we saying it, that begots an action. You feel me? Like, and even me saying it, that came from a thought. So the law is the thought, and that dictates your actions. Somebody had a thought to come up with this law, and now it dictates what you do. Because we got to be real. At the end of the day, you could say that intuition came from wherever,
and
but
then at
it's still that
at
piece.
the same time, cause man, I done got up a whole lot to say out for this one though. But at the same time, when I said what is a husband and what is a wife, nowadays it's like they lack that because of social media, because of the media, because of Congress. I mean, the world is lacking that. I mean, everybody think a husband and a wife look like nowadays is two lazy motherfuckers. I mean, that's what I'm getting at anyway. Because they are letting the media dictate their life and thinking that they need when they really don't need half this technology that's going around now. It's like they pretty much drowning the people out with money, trying to,
Oh,
goddamn it, live like the Joneses,
say that
or
again. What they
or
did to him,
basically live like
cuz
a next good family. But at the
they
same time, they are forgetting that the Joneses know how to survive,
come on
just in
now.
case the money blow out.
You heard me.
Mm.
Just in case this money blow out, guess what? What do what are y'all really teaching y'all kids? Cause when I was in high school, well, really middle school, I was going to Boy Scout. What even happened to Boy Scout being popular? It's like they just played alpha man, and why? It's cause they turning our boys gay, trying to kill them.
That's why Boy Scout fell.
Nah,
Just
but y'all
like
heard the whole
I
thing
mean,
about the
just like
girls trying
back
to
in the
join the Boy
day,
Scout?
So what?
just like back in the day, in the Bible days, they've been trying to kill out all boys. They still doing that, still to this day. But they came up with another way to kill off instead of just throwing them off into the river or just either kill them straight out with a knife. They doing it in another way, and people is not even witnessing how they doing it. And they created it back in first when the United States was established 1816 when they slit separated the slaves, made all men slaves prison here, and made all women slaves prison here. That's when they created the most dangerous disease in the world, HIV. When they separated and put all men together.
So you saying based on
So
our
basically,
relationship with our
they
daddy,
pretty
the
much
USA?
turning men gay and killing them. And then
Okay.
after they killing them with that HIV, that's when they been off in a closet, fucking women, and damn near letting them catch the virus. That's why I don't even like gays. Fuck them motherfuckers. I mean, that right there got some history behind me, and that's what I see. That's what I see. They slick killing for the government. Like seriously though, but I don't know. I don't know. But that's just what I think. I mean, it is what it is. Shit.
That
I
nigga
mean, it
said,
is what it is, though.
I mean, it seemed like based on our relationship with our dad and the U.S. government, it's dictating how we even deal with our relationships.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So before me, black man, start looking at my woman, I need to, you know what I'm saying, look at the relationship I got with this, you know what I mean, with this regime or how I understand our relationship. Cause I might be bringing that baggage into the house and not even realizing that shit.
man, this is my relationship with it.
Ah,
Hell
pick this up at Walmart.
Man.
no.
Remember this one? No.
Wind it up.
Hell no.
I got a jackass in a box.
Shit, nigga, I don't fuck with this at all.
But
You
yeah.
know, I try to be the most self-sufficient person I can be.
That's what it's about.
Nigga, man,
But yeah, though. But I mean, but man, it's like
Where you
if
going,
people
cuz?
don't wake up and see that if they coming up, if all these diseases is popping up,
Alright, you on this
how are
disease
they
shit.
getting here? Ain't nobody really thinking
being
about it because
creative.
at the same time, if you think about it, they got the
It ain't going through
diseases.
Bali though.
Yeah, they got the diseases to inject in animals pretty much mammal species, because that's where we all goddamn come from. I mean, every human is a mammal species, you know, and pretty much I learned it from my goddamn stepdaughter, though, real talk.
That's what's up though. You learned the shit. I don't know how true it is, but you learned the shit.
But we all is mammal species, though, real talk, though. But
we a mammal.
Mammal. I mean, just think about it. I mean, what do a mammal got? I mean, they covered in flesh. I mean,
them bitches walk on all four.
Reptiles are covered in feathers. So I mean, we can't be no reptile. I mean,
don't get me wrong. I ride with the mammals. I don't eat them
in a way we can, because but we do have hair growing on us too. I mean, I'm just saying.
Monkey got all that shit too.
But to his point, though,
what you saying, man?
To his point about the.
I mean, cause
shut up, nigga.
I mean, cause if you think about it, I mean, reptiles do eat worms, and I mean,
nigga, I seen a squirrel eating a bird the other day, fool.
I mean, a good, species to eat, though.
That's how I tell
Hey, Marv, hold on, Marv. What you finna say,
man? He said something about, he said, they testing these diseases out on the animals and where they getting them from, right? So, you know what I'm saying? Basically, what he was saying was, obviously they making the shit. So,
I mean, they pretty much making these diseases.
Yes, manufacture that shit. I was listening to a stream one time, and this dude, he said he was a neuroscientist, and his job is basically to test the neurological effects of different diseases. I think it was like some flu viruses, Ebola, and a couple other things. And he said all these things were coming from Bill Gates' foundation. Like, you know what I'm saying? Basically, Bill Gates is the one that, you know what I'm saying, is responsible for all of the, and what they do is they get the case of the samples and they test them under certain situations, and it's a constant thing. You know what I'm saying? This is what this lab research. You know what I'm saying? That's it. And I don't know if y'all saw it, but let me see. I think it was back in April. Bill Gates had this little. It was an article I read where he said 30 million people can die from the flu pandemic if we don't get it together. So, like, how can you project something like that? Like, how is that your projection that 30 million people are gonna die? You know what I'm saying? Like, you basically letting us know there's gonna be some serious shit in the air, and then you gotta, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you basically forewarning us of some shit that that you finna put into effect. It's a card that they finna play.
Hold on. I feel like though also, you can project shit on people though. Like, for one, exactly. Flu season come around all the motherfucking time. You know what I'm saying? It's just always comes around. So to turn around and tell people millions of motherfuckers gonna fuck around and die because they get the flu, you basically saying subconsciously you need to go get the flu shot.
But
that's what you're saying on the other hand.
What I
and they know they gonna kill niggas when they get them that shit.
But what I came up with recently was every time they come out with something, letting people know that is a disease or flu or whatever, they just came out with another disease that they trying to find a cure for. They gonna call it probably a flu or Ebola. But
man, you gotta watch Toxic Skies, bro. Yeah, they already be having a cure when they create that shit because they know there's a chance they could get that shit.
It's all chemical.
If the cure really works on humans, so basically they letting us know that a couple of y'all about to die and a couple of y'all is, it is what it is. So pretty much.
But the cure is to be human. You feel me? Because the body gonna do what it's supposed to rid you of anything.
Exactly. The body will handle all that shit. See, and that's the thing. People got a misconception with when they get cold outside, I'm gonna get sick. Cold don't make you sick. It's
Yeah,
you know what I'm
man, for
saying, like
sure.
that's the
Shit.
most counter. Cold don't make you sick. It's the fact that certain bacteria can survive in certain conditions, but the
Right.
temperature don't have nothing to do with it. So the whole thing is the bacteria is gonna exist. Is your body able to cope with the shit? If you already at a highly mucus type of state and a
It's gonna take
acidic
you down.
state, you know what I'm saying? Then it's gonna affect you. But if you have an alkaline system, your blood is clean, and the rest of your bodily organs are functioning well, you're not gonna get sick. I know
And you
people who
might even experience some
people who been,
sniffles, but
man, I know people who been vegan who ain't got a damn cold in 9 years.
nah, I
Like,
was just saying like you might wake up like blowing some shit out in the morning because some shit done, but you ain't gonna get sick like you normally get sick, and even that is a sign of your body ridding itself of cold air.
yeah,
And
absolutely. But at the same
I
time
mean,
though,
not
like,
cold air, but the stuff that was conducive to
Hey,
it thriving. You know, it's ridding itself of what was created as
I
a
put it
result.
like this though. I mean,
mm,
out of so far out of all damn near I pretty much after all my years I've been in Georgia. And I done been to other states where, the weather ain't goddamn I mean it jumps negative quick than a mug like shot time. But but out of all of my out of all them years, I probably say like 5, 6 years, 7, mostly 8. I've been out of Tennessee. I mean, hell, I ain't hell shit doing the cold hell shit. Nigga, I walk out in shorts and a shirt. I mean, hell shit. I ain't experienced no cold yet. I mean, how am I supposed to get cold? I mean, how am I supposed to get sick? I mean, like, I ain't got sick now. I mean, where is the sickness coming from?
Hey, when you gonna stop eating baby food?
Huh?
I'm fucking with
Hey,
you. I'm
I
fucking
ain't
with
even
you. I
gonna
mean,
lie. Hey, man, some baby food be fat though. I ain't even gonna lie.
bruh,
Especially that,
see,
hey,
that's when you know you got to get
no,
off that meat,
man,
boy.
especially that on strawberry. I forgot what it is. It's
I'm
something
done
straw.
with you,
Hey, that
fool.
shit be fat though.
I'm
Hey,
done with you, though.
man,
I'm done.
I ain't even gonna lie. Hey, baby food do
that
be
the
fat though
strawberry.
sometimes.
Kim
It
fuck,
do
Kim
be fat.
fuck. What that
But
baby
hey,
food talking
real
about?
talk, real talk. Hey, man, the best thing for us all to drink, pretty much, since I mean everybody think that they lactose intolerant. I mean, just go ahead and start just drinking breast milk. I mean, I bet you won't be lactose intolerant then. See, I mean, cause you
You
can't
gotta
be
find
into
somebody
this
gonna let you
world
drink that shit
drinking
first.
breast milk. How the hell is you gonna be lactose intolerant? I mean, I'm just saying. I'm just saying. I mean, just drink bread.
Cause it ain't it ain't
Human milk.
human milk, nigga.
I'm right. It ain't you. I mean, we drinking cow milk. That's why you allergic. Cause you ain't no cow, motherfuckers.
Cow, you heifer. You ain't supposed to be drinking that shit.
Shit, you ain't no cow, nigga. Stop drinking that
They
shit.
granny been calling them a heifer their whole life, bro. They ain't know.
Hey,
That's why that
Oh
that whole
man,
thing with we mammals, that shit get, you know what I'm saying, confuse them, a simple minded motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? Like, hold on, bro. We mammals, shit. Well, I can't drink their milk, nigga.
I'm
I
glad he
mean,
up on that
certain
shit, man. 'Cause
members is a certain name. I mean, just like you can't go around just sucking on a female dog titties. I mean, I'm just saying, cause you ain't no dog. You a human species.
They
But
ain't
ain't that
trying
crazy
that
though?
either.
Ain't that crazy though? How people ignore that simple fact what he just said though. You'll drink the cow
But well,
milk,
you
cause
can watch it if you want to watch.
I
What
was gonna
else?
say yeah, let's drink the cow milk, cause that shit disturbed. But they won't go drink no horse milk. They won't drink no camel milk. They like goddamn groundhog milk. You can't name another type of milk that these motherfuckers are. They might drink some goat milk, but that's about it. Like, you know what I'm saying? People are like, what's so different about the cow that his milk is acceptable? and you won't drink nobody else milk.
Man,
That shit.
it's the trick of Congress. That's all I is. I mean, them Italians got this shit on lock. I mean, hell, they tell you that they want their cut, they gonna get their cut. I mean, far as I know is I don't even know anybody that has ever competed with them on motherfucking Italians. I ain't gonna lie, them sneaky bastards. But you know, that's on another topic. But I mean, them Italians, I mean, them motherfuckers some sneaky motherfuckers. I ain't gonna lie. Shit. They some sneaky motherfuckers though. I mean, yeah, I mean, that's who pretty much run this goddamn it. Well, think they run this motherfucking world. Is them motherfuckers. I mean, cause ain't nobody scared no goddamn Asian motherfucker. Ain't nobody scared no goddamn European, British. I mean, but we all scared of them goddamn Italians. I didn't know that. Shit.
Well, shit.
Yeah, nigga, them motherfuckers is the goddamn mafia out here.
Yeah. Yeah, but shit, man. Yeah, that milk shit crazy. I was in Sam's today. This nigga had a whole basket. His wife got a basket, but his basket ain't got nothing but milk in it. I said, God damn. Fuck they finna do with all that shit.
Not knowing if they don't hurry up and drink that motherfucker, it's about to expire.
Man. They'll drink that shit. Oh shit, it's got 2 days left. Fuck it. We're gonna drink this shit in.
All
Yeah.
that pus up in that thing.
And that's another thing, the all the stress that the damn milk go through before you even get it. This shit ain't even like
Yeah,
the milk to come
trick.
out the damn cow titties.
Man,
They done killed everything that was live in it,
We
everything that was
smoked
good.
that.
that's
And
the
then
process of it. I mean,
yeah,
you gotta take it to the process to make it safe for humans. I
right.
mean, so basically anything
And
that
to
got a
make it even
process is not good to eat. So it's like say so if it's gotta go through any factory that's even ran by Congress, I mean it's pretty much unsafe. I mean the best way of it is build it yourself. Cause
mm,
because if you build it yourself, it don't have to go through no process, and you already know it's safe.
yeah, man. I think that milk drinking shit, that shit came out of an act of desperation once upon a time, and that shit just stuck. That shit is disgusting. For people to have as much money, as much freedom to do the shit that they want to do, for motherfuckers to think that that shit is what they supposed to be doing, that shit crazy. And then what's crazy is they'll come out. They done came out and put out. They put out a few months ago. They put out a thing telling people milk actually causes osteoporosis because when you don't have enough magnesium to take in with your calcium, you got what you have, what you call calcium deposits or calcification that occurs in the body. So they letting people know this shit. They ain't gonna tell you a whole bunch of times. They gonna report this
Say
shit
that shit
one time.
again. Matter of fact, you need to say that shit again. You ain't got no magnesium. How'd you say that shit?
Yeah, you need a magnesium for every calcium. You know what I'm
Come on now.
saying? For in order to properly absorb it.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, it becomes a calcium deposit. If you look up the word calcification, you're gonna see that it means you got too high levels of calcium in the blood, and
Mm-hmm.
this can affect all kinds of tissues, the bones, and everything like that. And when you have these deposits on the bones, this what leads to osteoporosis, rather than the bones truly absorbing the calcium. You know what I'm saying, through the blood. You know what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying, in its natural, you know what I'm saying, whatever the natural process for that is. I ain't gonna sit
Right.
here and act like I know
Metabolizing it through
exactly
the blood.
shit. I don't know exactly how that shit is
However
works,
you
but
phrase it.
but here's the thing though. I do understand that if they have the chemical knowledge at this day and time that you need magnesium in order to absorb your calcium, then they had the chemical knowledge at the same time they gave us that fucked up ass food pyramid, and they should have been telling us that shit back then. But as we know, we got a FDA, Food and Drug Administration, and they
At
working
the same
cahoots.
time.
You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, they in the same building. So, you know what I'm saying? You need to eat the fucked up food so we can sell you the drugs.
You hear me? Hear me now, nigga. Can you hear me now?
You
Man,
know,
I mean, that's as straight up as it get. You know what I mean? Cause from McDonald's to the motherfucking pharmacy, they got something for you. If you
But
not trying to
man,
be, hold on, cuz. If you not trying to be self sufficient, when the real medicine is what you put in your mouth and
man,
what you let come out of your mouth. Like, that's another
every,
thing. A lot of people don't take into account. You be out here talking all this fuck shit. You can get your diet right all day. But if you over here keeping conversations that's not conducive to life, you materialize those same salts and calciums within your body or calcifications within your body just by way of the blockages that you create mentally. Like that's what's important too though. Like I changed my diet because I wanted to have a high capacity mentally. I felt like I wasn't, you know what I mean, metabolizing information as well as expressing myself properly or to the, to the extent that I wanted to. So when I recognized that the mucus that within all the food I was eating was affecting the way that I think, and me being going back to my childhood again, me being a badass child and knowing I wanted to do what my mama told me to do, but it just didn't metabolize. Found my motherfucking issue. You know what I'm saying? But never forget, a bad attitude will fuck you up right along with eating bad food. So having both, that's just, that's walking dead to me. You just waiting to die.
yes, sir.
But you
yeah,
can't avoid each other either. You can't avoid it. You know what I'm saying? You got a bad diet. You can't avoid having a
but
bad
hey,
attitude because you grumpy.
I put it like this though. I mean, it's one thing that we as in species can't do is that stop death. I mean, it's gonna happen either or. I mean,
It's
either
about
I,
your quality of
yeah.
life, not the
yeah.
quantity.
I
This
mean,
life is
cause
only, it's just a tool for the spirit to have a physical, you know what I'm saying, experience. It ain't supposed to last forever.
yeah,
Right. So it's about the quality of life, not the quantity.
Right.
So while you here, you got to be able to at least be able to enjoy the experience to say you really lived. Like a lot of people still got this question of, shit, are we really here? Nigga, because you can't even enjoy the experience. Like you can't see half of the colors outside. You can't hear half of the sounds. Yeah, that shit can become annoying on another hand, but on one hand, that shit it makes life grand. You know what I mean? To
but
go outside and see all the colors, even in your house, watching TV. Imagine watching something that you felt like shit. The graphics was fucked up on that bitch, or go back and watch some old cartoons when we was kids. You gonna
man,
get it sentimentally, but the colors and shit, that shit ain't gonna grab your ass like this, like now, because what you so used to seeing all of these colors. So just imagine you being a person who can't even metabolize this type of shit because of your diet, and we ain't even got into biology. Cause you can eat all the
yeah,
shit you want, but if like we was just saying with that milk, if you ain't supposed to be doing certain shit, you ain't supposed to be doing certain shit, and it's not gonna happen for your ass.
but
And it's
but
not me saying that shit. You know what I'm saying? This is
and,
nature saying that shit.
and
Certain people
then
can't see certain colors.
I'm starting to realize about eating food. I mean, it pretty much really don't matter what you eat or how you eat it, but at the end of the day, it's all about
You
just
better be still, Momo. Quit kicking that
uh
motherfucking wall.
trying to get better to pretty much eat better.
Oh, live, loud and shit.
I mean, it's like if you can eliminate some things to make it to a way to make so it can be good, then eliminate it for the time being. But when you got the right material or equipment to make it better, then hey, try it again. I
Nigga,
mean,
you got a brain
I'm
that metabolizes information, and everybody at this point know there's options out there. I'm not telling people they, you know what I mean, slow or none of that shit, but I am saying there is no excuse for nothing nowadays. You know what I mean? At one point in time, shit was being withheld from people, so you could simply say they don't know. But to not know nowadays is to just be, I forgot how we phrase that shit. Is it to be ignorant because you choosing not to know? It ain't like you don't got the option to know. And it ain't like you ain't never heard of this shit. Like everybody at this point has heard of a vegetarian because motherfuckers always trying to mock me for the bullshit. So you know what I'm saying? It's not that niggas don't know. It's more of a, you know what I mean? You feel like shit, ain't nothing wrong with how you living. So for me, it's more, some people got to go through more shit before they decide they want to change certain things, and they might
yeah,
not never change that shit. But for
yeah,
me, it get harder to sit back and watch people do shit that I know ain't conducive to them living, and then hear their complaints.
yeah.
Yeah.
But just like I always said, some
So I ain't no
people,
doctor though.
man, but some people just can't take the goddamn pain. I mean, they just can't take the hurt.
I mean,
I
pain
mean, you
got
know,
another thing with
because
it.
I mean, I always tell anybody pain only lasts a couple days and then it's over with. I mean, pain is not supposed to last forever. I mean, if it is, then hell, it's a lot of pain I still be feeling right now. But but I'm not. Shit, I don't even want to talk about a couple. I still don't know how I survived. But I mean, but it's like pain. It's like I mean, it don't last forever. I mean, just take it, get over it. I mean, just study it on how to not see it or go through it ever again. That's the only thing I see. Anyway, but
Mhm.
I agree. What you guys say on that pain shit, Melvin? Because I got a perspective on that too. I agree though.
Oh yeah, I'm with him on that one.
Say something real quick.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Okay, yeah, my
yeah,
headphones back on. But yeah, I'm with
but
him on the I'm with him on the pain shit. Like, I go through a little bit of pain just to go ahead and get the situation out the way. That's like that kind of go back to the what we was talking about with the relationships, how we'll make an assumption, and but we won't, or not me, but some people won't handle the situation because they don't want to deal with the pain that might be associated with it. So you might, like, let's say somebody who do got a problem with let's say they partner cheating on them. Like, why you gonna sit here and just be concerned about it and talking shit about it, but you ain't said nothing to the person who you feel like doing you wrong? Man, go ahead and handle that wax and go ahead and get it on out your system. Otherwise, you're gonna let it string on for a year. Then you're gonna find out. Then you got a whole nother month or two that you got to heal when you could have just healed last year. You see what I'm saying?
yeah,
So yeah, like he said, the pain. You know what I'm saying? The pain good for you. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes it's exactly what you need.
yeah. I mean,
Everything's a do-out. Everything's a balance. You need good and bad.
yeah, man. Just like speaking of balance, I mean everything is a balance. So guess what? Everything is flat or round. So if everything is flat or round, then guess what? At the end of the day, the world is both flat and round. Some parts is flat
Uh
and some
oh.
parts is round. I'm just saying.
What?
Some parts is flat and some parts is round. It's just it's just the way the world. I don't hell. I mean, I don't know what it is. So I'm just saying. It could. It could be both. I mean, I mean, there's some people said that they actually seen it, and some people said it was flat, and some
You
He
people
talking
said
about
it
the
muted
Earth?
and
was
he
round,
echoed.
and I mean, it could be both. I mean, hell, they probably got them just for seeing both. Like, damn, one angle is round, and then one angle is flat. So hell, it could be both. I mean, I don't
Hey
know.
Marvin, is you watching it on YouTube or you just on your phone?
Huh.
Are you watching it on YouTube or you just on your phone?
I don't know. Hell, I ain't watching. I mean, I'm just going by what the people say.
Nah, nigga. I'm talking about now. Cause I hear an echo, fool.
Oh no, hell, I ain't watching none on my phone.
Oh, okay, okay. I was just making sure you ain't echoing no more though. It was echoing
Uh,
when I changed over. But shit, I mean, that's like all this conversation been about the relationships and everything that we talking about, whether it's our relationship with the government, our relationship with each other, our relationship with this planet, look like we finna get into. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I was
And
about to say, was he talking about the Earth?
oh
he
yeah,
said that bitch flat and round, and it's funny because I was just talking
But
about that
look,
shit the
but
other
look,
day.
yeah, round is round. He absolutely right because I'm gonna tell you why though. If you stand up in the space you in right now,
Mm,
and you looking at, like, say you facing a wall, and
right.
you completely turn until you facing that wall again, you just did a damn circle. It ain't no way to escape round.
yeah,
Everything, you know what I'm saying? Everything slick round, like that's
You
why they
feel
call
me?
it around. You know what I'm saying?
Mm,
Like everything. I mean, totality is what 360 degrees. It
it's
covers
a
everything.
cycle, yeah.
yeah.
Right.
60 degrees creates a circle, so you can't
Mm-hmm.
escape the fact that, you know what I'm saying, where you standing ultimately has to be round. If it if it's complete, you see what I'm saying? Um, because I doubt the motherfucker shaped like a fucking square. But at the same time, though, the
I
motherfucker
mean,
flat.
it could be. I
Uh
mean, it
oh.
could be too.
Ain't,
I mean,
ain't no way around it. It is. It
I
can't
mean, I
be.
mean,
It
hell,
can't
I
be.
mean,
It can't
I
be a
mean,
sphere.
I mean, it could be round and flat. Cause I mean, shit, yeah. I mean, yeah, it is a 360, and then at the same time, it being a 360, you do gotta walk in a path, and then a path is flat. So pretty much you walking on a round flat surface at the end of the day. Bam! That answers our question. If it's flat or
Oh,
round, I mean it's
you gonna
both.
let that shit ride, but
I mean,
It's
but
both.
in the connotation he's saying it, you know what I'm saying? I agree with him. Now, is
right,
it
right.
shaped like a basketball? Hell no.
Nah, hell no. Not no basketball.
They,
Cause I mean, it could. I mean, unless it's a flat ass basketball.
Yeah.
man, it had a flat ass basketball that have been ran over by six semis. Goddamn it,
You
motherfucker.
feel me? And it might have been around after they, you know what I mean, before they started creating, clearing out shit. You feel me? All that good shit. So it might have been around before they started blowing up mountains and you feel me? It
Nah,
might have
but
been.
nah.
but in the beginning,
Nah, I'm fucking off at
I
that
mean,
point,
it
but I was
really
just saying.
was flat though, because in the beginning the world really was flat until actually meteor just starts to and hit hit into the surface and build its own self up into a round bow, a round. Well, it is a couple documentaries said that the
Nah,
media actually was hitting up against media surfaces, making the one round ball, heated ball, fire hot heated ball. Then at a certain period of time, it start the round ball start to cool off and generate, pretty much other species, water, air, and stuff like that, trees, grass, and stuff. But
Yeah, that's far off
that's
the
like,
reservation for me right there, though. I don't even know if I can even really subscribe to a true meteorite in the way that they explain them. Cause I don't even
Yeah.
believe in outer space. So I don't know where the hell these rocks coming from out that thin ass air.
That I mean, and that's what I be trying to figure out. I mean, hell, sometimes hell, I be thinking that it's something out of the universe. I mean, hell, cause my thing about it is, if it's Earth, universe, then what's beyond the universe? It's like
Yeah. So
it's
like,
something
basically,
else
but
that
that's
pretty
what.
much formed the planets that's in the universe,
Well, see,
but
that's
that
my
is
whole
out
thing.
of the universe.
My whole thing is this. Look at it like this. Like, I don't know if y'all can go outside and see it right now, but if you look at the moon right now, you'll see Mars is below the moon, or it might be slightly to the right of it. It looks like a big ass orangish star. Now, they'll sit there and tell you it's a planet, but when you look at it and you compare it to all the other stars, right now today, that motherfucker look like a star. And you can see that bitch with your naked eye right now, because I was looking at it last night. And when, you know what I'm saying, I don't know, I got a pretty decent little telescope. But this little motherfucker right here does me a good enough job. And when I look at the damn stars or the planets, them bitches look like stars to me. You know what I'm saying? They don't have no physical, you can go shoot off a rocket and land on that bitch type of qualities. It just don't exist. And one thing me and Rodney was talking about this earlier. When you say the word light, you talking about light has two connotations. So you talking about something that can illuminate and something that's weightless. It don't have no weight. You know what I'm saying? It ain't heavy. It's light. You see what I'm saying? So if something is light, that means it's weightless. So you can't have a planet that weighs tons suspended in the damn air that's emanating a light. You see what I'm saying? It's not reflecting no damn sunlight beaming off these planets and they, you know what I'm saying, just happen to look like stars. No, them motherfuckers are stars. All the ancient people said they were called wandering stars. Any religious text will tell you that they're wandering stars. And it's because they have retrograde activity and they do things that these other stars just don't do. But you know what I'm saying? To say that they're planets is, you know what I'm saying, it's science fiction. They can't even go that damn far in these spaceships. Uh, you know what I'm saying? They done told us that they ain't been to the moon. So if you ain't been to the moon, I can't believe shit you got to say about Mars. You ain't
Right,
even
where
made
you
it to
getting all
the
this
moon.
information from?
Where you getting your info from?
Yeah, that's true.
You know what I'm saying? And like I said, I don't even want to get too deep in there. You know, I start eating that shit up.
I mean,
Yeah,
yeah, no, that's another relationship. You feel me? I would be remiss if we don't, touch on
Relationship with
it,
NASA.
the relationship we got as a people with our youth, and one of the faces of our youth, you know what I'm saying, passed on. Want to say it was June the 18th, but don't quote me on that. Um, XXTENTATION, am I saying that right? Any of y'all familiar with his? Yeah.
I don't know. I ain't never heard of that one.
Don't get me wrong though. Like I might can't pronounce the brother name, but I'm definitely familiar with the energy that he was putting forth. I'm familiar with the plight of what he went through before, you know what I'm saying, he passed, to the point that I felt like it's something I definitely wanted to touch on, given, the relationships that we have as a people with our youth. I think like just to start it off, I think I'm constantly seeing a reminder that we love little babies, but the older a motherfucker get, like I'm talking about, it's getting to the point, shit, by the time you hit about 9, 10, people saying stuff that you used to wouldn't hear people say about children. And it's just getting to a point like the expectations, I guess, are so much higher, but at the same time, the way that the children are being treated and the resources they are left with, you know what I'm saying, ain't even all that great. So it's like I want to talk about the relationship that we have with the youth because it's almost to a point that it's not fair. And I feel like a lot of shit get overlooked just by way of us over here mistreating and not understanding necessarily where people coming from. Just dealing with the young brother, Tastashion, he was troubled with depression, and that's something I deal with. You know what I mean? Still to this day. So for me, I definitely my heart went out to him. You know what I'm saying? First thing because it ain't necessarily something I felt like the little brother harbored on, but you can see it when you've been through it. You know what it looked like when somebody done cried so much to the point their eyes is puffy all the time. Um, you know what it felt like to, have parents separate and you not understand quite what's going on. Give me 1 second, y'all. But I'm back, y'all. I know how I feel, you know what I'm saying, to be going through some shit and it seemed like don't nobody else understand you. And it felt like to me it was a lot of things that was said also with up on the little brother's death that what I'm saying it's getting to a point people forget you don't say stuff about dead people. You know what I'm saying, like they ain't here to speak for themselves. Yeah, you can sit here and say certain actions spoke for themselves, you feel me, but at the end of the day when you gone, people gonna try to say shit about you, and you gonna want somebody to step up and be like, "Bruh, can't even speak for himself and explain his intent behind whatever you may feel he did wrong." But oftentimes, I feel like it's more of a case of we leaving these kids out to dry and then blaming them for surviving, as long as they do survive. And I can say that from the standpoint of, I'm saying, some of the stuff that I experienced growing up and people not being understanding, and these being some of the same people that I seen do it before I did it. And just so happened, I didn't suffer losing my life as a result of that shit, but a lot of these kids is replicating stuff that we said was cool, stuff that we said was okay. Like even the little brothers who did what they did to him, you feel me? Like some of this stuff is still glorified in the music. It's a regular part of the music. There's other shit about music that, there's a regular part of it I don't really like. You know what I'm saying? Like the whole cheating conversation is man glorified in the music. You know what I mean? I don't really hear too many songs where dude ain't talking about I took your gal or dropped your gal off. It's you know what I mean, somewhere mixed
Yeah.
in there. So and it's
But that
like
ain't even. That ain't even well, I'm
I
sorry.
don't want to
I
get
hate to
too
cut you
far
off.
off. Yeah, I don't want to get too far off, but I just wanted to,
Yeah.
touch on that because a lot of people always harbor so much on the violence, but not understanding these brothers come from a lot of violence. Um,
Yeah.
and
Well,
depression will lead you to, express yourself in certain ways.
yeah. You're absolutely right. And one of those ways is to seek out happiness through the demise and the destruction of others. So, like you said,
Right,
you're
right.
talking about, yeah, dropped your bitch off at your mama house. You know what I'm saying, or some shit. You
Mm-hmm.
know what I'm saying? Because that's called pleasure through pain. You know what I'm
Right,
saying?
right.
To see you hurting make me feel good. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
That's what these people are feeding off of. You know what I'm saying? And that's you know what I'm saying, that's if you ask me, that's a sign of a motherfucker who got an issue. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, who done went through the same trauma,
Exactly the same trauma, or who
trying to avoid it so bad.
But then
or
again,
just
Hold
don't
on,
have
Marv.
a
those type of
sensitivity
people,
factor. Just don't have a sensitivity factor for people at all.
Mm.
Like you say, you don't have that care just for
Right,
the
right.
next man. But go ahead, Mark.
but then again, those type of people that actually feed into like negative. I mean, just pretty much. talking about, just fucking your bitch, or I'm gonna pop you. Or shit. Just negative vibe. It's like, to me, those type of people is created from single parenting. It's like, but I'm talking about the single parenting to where the mother say that she don't need no man. She don't need no man. I got my child. I don't need no man. Bullshit.
I mean, yeah,
Because
that's one form. That's one
because
form.
if you can take care of a grown man, then why is this grown man out here talking like this? Hell, when I see you, I'm gonna handle you. I'm gonna shoot you. Or shit. Or shit, nigga, fuck you, nigga. I'll fuck your bitch. I don't need, come on. I mean, if the home had both the parents, or in some cases, the home don't have to have both the parents living in it, but pretty much if the unique of raising that child has both the parents doing something, then likely that child is not gonna be talking like that.
Yeah, it's likely. I mean, and I love all this feedback we get. You know what I'm saying? I really felt like at some point in time we gonna have to move these conversations up to like a prime time hour. But man, like I definitely feel these perspectives because, like, for me, it's another perspective it can come from. Like, you can have both parents, but both of them, so caught up in their careers. You know what I mean? Like, another thing that we gotta recognize is people like, yeah, we have our individual aspirations, but for me, a lot of my aspirations had to be turned on their head. You know what I mean? Like, they had to be towards the benefit of this family as well as something that we can do as a family. Like, even with my music, you know what I mean? Like, I try to interact as much as I can with my kids with that because I know at some point I want them to participate in that and being able to express themselves. You feel me? Like, so if it's something I want to do in the long run, I definitely have to make sure it's conducive to include my children. Now, yeah, we can talk about certain segments of music where they talk about that because I brought it up. You feel me? But in other segments, they talk about more conscious things and more things that are becoming. Even in the segments that we were just talking about, I'm starting to hear more sprinkles of consciousness. More damn, hey, buddy died, you know what I'm saying? And I feel some kind of way. Like, you don't really hear that too much. You know what I'm saying? But like when we was coming up, you feel me? Like, you might have had a song or two about somebody that died, but for the most part it was like all about being cold and, having no remorse for the other side. Now it's more like, you see people die and you see people that didn't fuck with them or they was beefing or something, they actually, you see people actually change the way they feel about people. So at the same time when we seeing all these problems, I can clearly say that there's a balance. I see youth thriving. I see older people giving youth a chance. You know what I'm saying? As well as giving other elders a chance to learn knowledge that they missed in their time because the more I get into this research or this information or even this community, this culture, I see that there's people that's been doing this before I was even born. You feel me? Having these conversations, looking for this information to make sure our people are fruitful and multiplying. You know what I'm saying? Like, at the end of the day, that's what it's all about because the longevity is in procreation. And given certain situations that you in, you might need to procreate more, you might need to procreate less. But I feel like that shit shouldn't be determined based on like other people dictating it to you. You and your mate should determine that. You feel me? And determine what y'all willing to do to make sure y'all survive. Cause at certain points it's only about survival. And I feel like shit, a lot of times it's only about survival because the things that we call ourselves thriving in or we call ourselves being successful in, a lot of that shit don't amount to nothing. When it comes to the real basis is about mother, father, child and making sure that continues on.
Hey,
So
yeah,
what's that?
Oh, my bad.
I thought you had something to add to it. I was just finna say, like, you know, it's all about the mother, father, child, and the continuation of that. Like we were saying earlier, you know, we all gonna transcend, but you know, you want to leave some of your energy behind in order to help others along the way, and that's why I brought up, you know, the young brother. Say his name, bro.
It's XXX Tentacion, but I think people just call him X. Like
All right, that's what. Oh, that's even
X.
better. That's why
Yeah.
I
Hey,
brought up X because,
I'm not
like,
going to say
hold on,
my
cuz.
goddamn part on it, but hell, I don't even want
Nah, nah. Say what you want to say.
to. I
You know who you
mean,
talking to though.
yeah, yeah. I mean, cause with that brother, I mean, me
Go ahead.
personally, I still think his whole death is the reason. Cause
The
uh,
reason what?
is cause from what I heard is he beat on his girlfriend badly, and I still think his death is got something to do with that. Cause if it was my damn daughter, I mean, I'm just saying. I mean, no
Well,
questions asked.
let me put a little bit of two. Let me put a couple of cents in on this whole X situation. I don't know nothing really about the dude. I didn't. I had heard his one little song, "Sad," but I didn't even know who sung the song when I first heard it. Cause y'all know how it is. We kind of stick with the music we came up with. You know what I'm saying? That shit's on a whole different vibe and different level than some of the shit that's coming out. So we tend not to even look in the way of some of these new artists, especially when you got little Uzis and these lame
Yeah,
modes. But anyway,
yeah,
so so the whole thing, you know what I'm saying, with Buddy is the day when it happened, I'm like, man, who is this dude everybody talking about? So I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna just watch some videos. So I watched the video he did on Hot 97 or whatever little radio station is, and he was talking about his depression and how a girl had really hurt him and how his mama had him young and you know what I'm saying? She basically like he went from family member to friend to friend to friend. Like she was young, so he wasn't really in a stable um household, you know what I'm saying? And he had a void, basically. You know what I'm saying? His whole life. You know what I'm saying? You gotta think dude died when he was 20, you know what I'm saying? So he just basically, but at the same time, from what I gather, he was a deep thinker though, because he talked about astral
True.
projection and shit like that. So I don't really, I mean, the only issue I really have with him is that some of the songs I listen to, dude he talks about death. You know what I'm saying? And he don't speak life. You know what I'm saying? Which I mean, coming from a depressed state, I understand why, but I'm just saying you speak things into existence as well. And to what Marvin was saying about his whole girlfriend thing, I don't know if that's true because when I was watching the videos, she had came to his little candlelight vigil, and they kicked her out of it and they burnt all the shit up that she had brought, and she was hot and she was, you know what I'm saying, made a video crying and shit saying how much she would have wanted her to be there and all this shit. So I mean, like I said, I don't know these people from a goddamn hole in the wall.
Right.
But I'm saying I do understand, you know what I'm saying,
How shit
the
can get
humanity. Yeah,
misconstrued.
how she felt, you know what I'm saying, just being a human, and if he beat on her that bad and she still came to
And
his,
forgave him.
yeah, and showed her respects. You know what I'm saying? That shows something about, you know what I'm saying, him to a certain degree.
He
Maybe
might
it
have
was,
changed before he passed. You know what I'm saying?
that's what I'm saying. So maybe he had some changing that he was doing and some shit that he was going through. I remember in the interview I watched, he said he was willing to give his girl, you know what I'm saying, and you know what I'm saying, she didn't want it, but you know what I'm saying, like I said, he had that boy, he had something that was missing out of his life, and and maybe she just wasn't ready yet, but he didn't know how to handle that shit because he ain't never
Right.
really had shit. You know what I'm saying?
I've been there.
And he openly and readily admitted that I ain't no street nigga like that. He's like I don't be going around shooting people like, you know what I'm saying. He kept it cool.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying. From what I saw, he's like
Right.
He's like, I'm just a young nigga. I'm just trying to have fun. He was like, I was like, fuck that school shit, because he felt like they was manipulating his mind. Like, you know what I'm saying? There was an air of intelligence there. You know what I'm saying? But I think he mystified that shit and got a negative connotation because of some of the tattoos he had. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Shit in his
It's
lyrics.
just how people look at you, period, nowadays.
Yeah,
You know
and
what I'm
all it
saying?
takes for you, all it takes in this day of time, like Marvin said, with the social media shit, is for you to have one thing, one good thing that they can pick at, and then that's gonna what they gonna harp on. You know what I'm
But guess what
saying?
they did to this young man though? He had a lot of good things that they could have picked at, but they didn't get that man no attention until he got in some trouble. He
Yeah,
got in some
I mean,
trouble and then they blew him up. You know what I'm saying? But even then, he wasn't willing to sign no contracts. You know what I'm saying? He
yeah,
stayed independent, did that shit on his own because he knew like, hey, bro, if I let these motherfuckers control me, just like the shit we know. You feel me? You let
Oh, yeah,
these people
that's
control you,
true.
they gonna determine how you move around. So even when he
yeah.
wouldn't do that, so guess what they did? They turned around and did a smear campaign, but it blew him up. It blew him up. You feel me? Like, don't get me wrong. I think he may have admitted to that situation. I don't know if he did or didn't. My thing with that, the domestic situation, shit happened between people. Very passionate people
Yeah.
get very passionate at times.
We
And when
that's
you
how we
young,
exactly how we got to look at that one, cause you know what I'm saying. Like, we don't know these people. We do not
right.
know these people. You know what I'm
It
saying?
Yeah,
wasn't
I,
done out of hate, I can
that's
tell
the
you that
thing
though.
about it.
I
We don't.
yeah, it was done out of irrationality. You know what I'm saying? It don't. I'm not justifying it at all. He definitely,
Right. But you gotta
absolutely,
paint the picture if we gonna paint it. You feel me? Like,
you got
what is
to. You know
these
what I'm saying?
kids growing
If
up
you want
in?
to talk about it, you have to. If you want to talk about it without really knowing about it, you have to show some type of you know what I'm saying, understanding on both ends. You know what I'm saying? Because you
Exactly.
know the entire situation.
Right.
So yeah, it's
Because
fucked up.
even if you was to go into detail about that shit, it'd be a situation where it'd be like one side would be saying she shouldn't have said this, other side would be saying he should have did this though. But it's all left in the air. Like, you don't know where people coming from, what background they coming from, and given what we just understood from what you was saying about his interviews, like he's definitely coming from a background of shit that probably wasn't even a conversation growing up yet. You know what I mean? He wasn't able to be around his moms like that. He probably seen his moms get her ass whooped. You know what I'm saying? Not to say that I mean, if she haven't, forgive me. You feel me? But if she has, I'm just saying a lot of people come from those backgrounds to where it's not even a conversation. And this is something I had to take into account as I got older and started meeting people who parents may not have talked to them so much as mine did, to the point I'd be like, dang, your mom them may never tell you that. So we really as individuals that's listening to this, individuals that's on this panel right now, we definitely got to take into account like everybody ain't getting the same conversation you getting. Everybody definitely ain't getting the same kind of love. I had to take that into account with my little cousin. You feel me? Like, damn, I wonder if that little nigga got a hug. You know what I'm saying? Like, ever after his pops passed. You know what I mean? Like, it's one of those things when people start doing certain things, you like, bruh, that shit stem from depression comes from being neglected
Yeah,
or a feeling of neglect. So when you think about that type of shit, it's as simple as us taking responsibility now and addressing the situation, being like, shit, we gotta take responsibility for these youth that's crashing out. No matter if we want to say, oh, they grown, da 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 da, bro. We come from a culture where you wouldn't consider grown, so you were down there about 40. And if we be real with ourselves, we still fine tuning shit.
oh yeah,
You
it
feel
don't
me? But
stop.
I guarantee you, by the time I'm 40, I'm gonna be hard. You hear me? I'm gonna be hard, and that's the goal, to make sure you don't reach that place to where you correct your wrongs. But the little brother was cook, man. That's what got me, bro. I was like, hold on, bro. I think we having another situation where we allow it for another one of our great ones to be taken out, and we not gonna recognize what it is until like later on, like they did Tupac. Like a lot of us, we got it instantly. You feel me? But we see it still carrying on to this day. So some people just not getting it. You feel me? So, but the important part is that I feel like I got from this shit is the little brother put his energy out there, so he gonna live forever regardless to what anybody think about him. the art that he put out there, you know what I'm saying, corrects a lot of the misunderstandings. But it's one of those things you gotta look at that shit with a, you know what I'm saying, with what if this was me? Cause when anytime somebody die, I look at that shit like this could have been me. Let me see what this brother had to say. You feel me?
Yeah.
Not what can I
That's the
think
thing.
about this motherfucker based on
That's
what he
the
said.
thing. That was another thing. He had a positive message from what I saw for people who was thinking about suicide. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah.
To you know what I'm saying, to kind of press, you know what I'm saying, and to you know what I'm saying, not dwell and just understand that, you know what I'm saying, things change. You know what I'm saying? Don't let it stay the same.
You right.
I mean, you know, it's deep. You know what I'm
I
saying,
think
I
his
had to
pops is
be
like in Jamaica too though. Just to throw another detail
oh
in there, like his people was like in Jamaica. His mother was here. You know what I'm saying? Like you said, they were doing the house to house thing. From what I heard, shit, he was staying with his friends for the most part, like you were saying too. So I confirm that. And I know me growing up like the way I did, and then when I got grown, started staying with a lot of, you know what I'm saying, my friends and shit here and there. It was a lot of shit that we did, a lot of ways that we started thinking and carrying ourselves that, shit, it been social media around back then, bro. Hey, you know what I mean? Motherfucker might be feeling some kind of way about us. I can't say we did nothing to that extent, but we got to think of the escalation from generation to generation to the
Man,
point
I
domestic,
put
it ain't even the same seriousness as we see it to them.
I put it like this. Back in the day when we were growing up, the only social media we had was damn near Black Planet.
Family videos, nigga.
Black Planet, that's it.
And family videos, nigga. Somebody pull out that old family video on your ass. You be like, nigga, where you find this shit at?
Right.
Where you find this shit at? Marvin Mama got all the family
Oh
videos,
no,
nigga.
no, no, man. I actually, man, I got this old video. Speaking of
Fuck
videos,
out of here, boy. Don't
basic,
start that.
2000, I want to say 2004, 2003 TSU homecoming when
Mm.
it was when it was at Club Palladium. Oh
What?
my god, nigga! I still got this old video.
Stop,
Man,
nigga.
I'm talking
Stop.
about it was lit off of Bell Road.
Now, what
Man,
kind of relationships was you having back then, sir?
huh?
Yeah, got him.
I was
Fucking.
shit back in the day. Those relationships was really pretty much nothing but friendships.
It was.
Hell,
Mm-hmm.
I did have
You
some
being
friends
nice
with
about it, huh?
benefits though.
Right, right, right. You being nice about it, huh?
But those friendships were number, friends. Hell, I don't even think I was in a relationship with no woman at the time. I don't think I was.
So your relationships with women was just strictly usefulness, huh?
Yeah, just friends.
Usefulness.
Yeah. Yeah,
This shit.
it may lead to harm. Who knows?
You is a nut, fool. Anybody got time for
Oh
that?
shit!
I'm just saying, I'm trying to, get a handle on these things because, oftentimes people act like they can't, see where people coming from. Like, these little boys, they don't even think. And I ain't even saying, I don't mean it. Let me fix that. These young men, you feel me? They not even thinking the same way we are. And we got to really understand that, like, it's 2018. Like, it's okay for a man to sit around and do things that we was taught weren't conducive of manhood. So in that sense, we have to start looking at things like in order to find understanding, we got to start looking at things from their islands. Like, cause we can't help motherfuckers. We don't know where they coming from, but we remember being them same youth in 2004 that everybody was like, "Man, ain't no hope for these niggas." You know what I mean? But we went through our natural progressions. and we was able to say, you know, we went through those rites of passages to say we still here. But some people not, and a lot of the people that left though, bro, some we gotta learn from the dead that are, you know, us that are living. We gotta learn a lot of these people put forth their energy, and tonight we putting forth our energy now, but we can't, you know what I'm saying? We can't limit that shit. Like whatever y'all niggas thinking y'all ever wanted to do, like I'm saying now, like niggas need to start acting on that shit, cause you never know.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
never know, and the youth is teaching us that. So as much as we want to be like these motherfucker tripping, they teaching us like, yeah, they caught up in the deaf culture, but imagine how much deaf we showed them. You know what I mean? 2 years after I graduated, the city where we from, you feel me, was like the murder capital, and that ain't never been heard of in Nashville. But I know in
But
2006, nigga, you could get bodied in Nashville easily. And I lost a lot of
but
friends that year. I
the
went to
thing
more
about it
funerals than I
is,
went to motherfucking what they call that when the baby born baby showers. You feel me? Like it was ridiculous, and that's why I say we gotta start finding understanding. Cause when nobody trying to understand us, cause that's why we was wilding. Like man, all right, we got a whole bunch of pain. We gonna make the world feel that, and that ain't how we said it. But nigga, man, niggas gonna feel my pain. That's what we said, my nigga. So at the end of the day, we feeling these children pain right now. And I ain't gonna lie to you, when I felt that young boy pain, man, bruh, that shit, man, it did something to a nigga, bruh. And it felt like Lil Terrell and them all over again. And it's to the point I understand both sides, bruh. Like this shit being glorified to the point it's like bubblegum to these niggas killing people. You know what I'm saying? Like everybody's a killer. This 2018 rules, bruh. Y'all gotta take that shit into effect. So even when we trying to judge, the killing of this young man as well as how he glorified death, like death in 2018 is like chewing bubblegum. Like much as we don't want to deal with it, we got to deal with it because our kids gonna be of age at some point. We gonna have to address these issues. Not to mention my children listen to these cats, so y'all can say they bullshit all you want to, but these kids, our kids feeling that shit, so it ain't bullshit. Like
yeah,
we
that's
bullshit.
true.
We don't know what time it is. You know what I'm saying? Because these niggas finna be in control. Right now, we got a little bit of say so, but we ain't gonna have no say so. We not coming to them right. Cause just like us, nigga, we weren't trying to hear that bullshit. They ain't gonna be trying to
Yeah.
hear that shit.
I mean, cause when as our parents were trying to tell us, but we weren't trying to hear it. So I mean, pretty much when it's
But we heard
something,
it. We
yeah,
heard it anyway though.
yeah,
They just didn't stop talking to us. And that's the same thing we got to do
yeah,
with the youth. We got to be there for them and love on them. You feel me? But at the same time, we got to tell them the truth too, because that's what's happening.
yeah,
Ain't nobody telling them the truth. Like when they get money, niggas start hating on them rather than being like, little, bruh, you need to, you can't move like that no more. Cause there's a lot of people out here hungry, bruh, and you look like food. You know what I'm saying? Like
yeah,
I know what kind of nigga you is, and you don't feel like you need to move with X, Y, Z. Da, da, da. Like, I know, bruh. But reality is this. But at the same time, I can't even say this young brother didn't take his own destiny in his own hand and say, man, if that's how I'm gonna go, I'm gonna go. Because as a youngster, I loved football, and I was told I could have died on that football field. And guess what? I used to always say, shit, I'd rather die here than anywhere else. So he probably felt like shit. Hey, niggas done told him he could die, and he like shit. I'd rather die doing this than anything else. I'm living free of paranoia, free of everything. And to me, that's what I seen when I seen that story. I'm like, man, we killed somebody for being free. But at the same time, I understand where the young brother's coming from. But I'm looking at my culture now, like, hold on, bro. We gotta check some shit, my nigga. Cause if my child come up and be a free thinker and you kill him because of that shit, we gonna
yeah,
have a problem. Cause I'm a very free thinker, so free that I get creative with some shit. So we gotta check that shit at the door, bro. Like it can't be no more of the latest and greatest. Our black excellence getting killed. Like I seen that shit first with the Trayvon Martin situation. The little boy was in school, from what I heard, studying to be. No, Melvin ain't gonna like this shit, but an astronaut. You know what I'm saying? But it's the principle. Like the little brother was had aspirations. You feel me? Of doing something and was snuffed out. You know, because somebody else perceived him as something that, fuck you, mean it don't matter what you perceive these kids at, as it don't give you no right to take nobody life.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Even
man.
if even if they got
Man,
to
though,
fighting,
but
like, bro,
real
I'm saying
talk,
this as a father. As a father, let me put this
that
in
is
too.
the
Hold
only
on,
case
Marvin.
that I hate. I hate though.
Marvin, let me say this too though, because I hear a lot of fathers say this. If a nigga put his hands on my daughter, XYZ gonna happen. Like, man, look, I'm finna tell y'all something. I ain't never even really said. But given the murders that I done experienced here recently, bruh, there's no justification for killing nobody, bruh.
No,
Bruh,
it's not.
There's ways
I,
to deal with people,
I
and you
can't, I
don't
can't,
have
I
to
can't,
kill them.
listen
You
to-
don't.
I can't
Hold on,
let.
hold on. If somebody
Uh,
don't take a life, it don't justify you taking one. Cause
true.
there's a way that you can deal with that person to make sure they feel that
Yeah,
same pain, and killing them is only taking them away from the shit you feel.
yeah.
All right.
And you gotta live with regardless to if they here or not, my nigga. And now you gotta live with even more because you went through with the action of taking them out. Like, come on now. You can't pile your shit on and then say you freeing yourself.
But man,
I
I'm
don't.
about to jump off of here though. I gotta
Hold
We
on
get
for
finna
you.
roll out
Hold
in
on
a second. Hold on.
for you jump off. Hold on for
We're
you
gonna
jump
jump
off.
off. Give us
'Cause
about 5 minutes.
I want both of y'all to hear this. And bro, I thought me and you had maybe gone down this rabbit hole before, but if not,
Mm-mm.
to take what I'm finna say very seriously. And
Mm.
as a matter of fact, if you have the ability, I want you to type in on your phone Tracy Martin Freemason.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Oh, I'm
I want
familiar.
you- Okay, so we have to understand that Trayvon shit was deeper than what the media telling us. Uh, it's not. It wasn't by no accident. You know what I'm saying? Uh, and then I mean, do y'all want to go there? Let me
I
just ask that
mean,
before we.
I don't think you will go there, my nigga, because I'm gonna end it real quick and be like, bruh, I'm just going on the narrative. If look, the little man, that's all I dealt with. I ain't dealt with the pops.
Yeah,
Like, why
absolutely.
he let his son be in that
Right.
situation? That's a
But
whole
no,
nother thing.
but yeah, but I mean, you had mentioned something about him and Zimmerman getting the fighting and
Right, right.
judging people based on a whole thing. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying that narrative is being pushed. That idea is being pushed via what I like to call ritualistic sacrifice.
I mean, yeah, I get that.
I'm
I'm just
saying
saying, like, but that narrative is a real narrative, though. It's not like Zimmerman, the only person in the world ever did that shit,
no, it's not. But
and
if
that,
you
or the only person that be thinking that shit.
but look though, look at how shit kind of spiraled after that. So after that, you had
Nah,
the
I
shit.
wouldn't say it's spiral.
Shit, bro, it went down. I mean, what was the
When it
what
ain't been going down.
bro? I'm talking about in the media. We know we're talking about
That's what
perception
I'm
here.
saying. Like they just start putting it in the media, but the
But
shit been going on.
I
oh
ain't
yeah.
saying, but let me get through it. Let me get through it. No, like don't try to take away from what I'm saying. Like on some real shit. After the Zimmerman and Trayvon shit went down, you had the shit with your boy Mike Brown. What was the name of the city he lived in?
Ferguson.
Ferguson. You know what I'm
No, I
saying?
know that.
Then you had your boy up in New York, the big dude. You know what I'm saying? Then you had your girl out in Baltimore. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying the type of shit that was in the media, you know what I'm saying, got pushed. That narrative got
The
pushed.
exploitation of they deaths.
Yes, and I'm saying this was the segue, this was the gateway to refuel that mentality, is all I'm saying. And when you look at the shit, when you look at what
But it was
happened,
necessary to get Trump in, I think.
man, a lot of shit's necessary. The shit played out of, I don't know if y'all know about the Illuminati cards. Well, actually, me and you talked about that. But look at the Illuminati cards that they playing out right now, and
Yeah.
look at the shit that you know what I'm saying is going on, and the whole thing with that whole Trayvon thing. Absolutely unfortunate for the brother, But I gotta look at his daddy sideways because you a grandmaster mason. And then when you look at the symbolism, bro
Don't make his
Sanchez.
child exempt.
No, that's what I said. I feel sorry for the brother, but I'm saying when you put your child in that type of situation to push a narrative for a payout, you know what I'm saying? We talking about a sick minded
But how we
individual.
prove that they got that payout because of that? Because a lot of people been getting paid because it's a such thing as wrongful death, and you might lose in criminal court, but you can turn around and sue the civil. I might have the wrong term, but a lot of these people are getting paid off because the
So
person
let me
died.
put it like
Period.
this. Let me put it like this. Do you believe that George Zimmerman really won the lottery?
What you mean? Oh, with the George Zimmerman case, you said what? He won the lottery.
Who won the lottery after the shit happened? What's the chances
Nah, I
of
thought he
George
already
Zimmerman
had
winning
bread.
the lottery?
Man, if he won the lottery, then
That
yeah,
ain't
I'm
true.
about to win one too. I
I
don't
mean,
That's
but
think
I
what I'm
that
thought he
nigga
saying.
won
already
no
had
lottery.
bread though.
I
He
think
already
that
had
nigga
bread.
probably
His
got
daddy's a
paid
Mason.
for doing
George
what he
Zimmerman's a
did.
Mason, and Trayvon's daddy is a Mason. Like I said, Bro Sanchez and RFG got a video breaking down the Aquarian age and the numerology and why they chose that young man to bring this shit out. The thing with the whole Skittles thing and the hood, all of this shit has you know what I'm saying, significance. I ain't gonna sit here and break all that down right now because I want people to not just take my word for it. Look into it if you think I'm wrong. That's all I'm gonna say. And I don't, you know what I'm saying? You probably gonna catch some beef and some slack from some people, you know what I'm saying, because of that, me saying that on your channel. But shit's real. Like I said, I ain't taking nothing away from that man's life because that shit was wrong how they did him. But it's the situations on how that shit came about. And that shit's
Hmm.
fucked up. And that let you know how deep this system is, and you know what I'm saying, how sick minded people really are. Uh, you know, especially, you know what I'm saying, what's like
But
to their
When it comes
child
to that money too.
with them
I
crocodile tears they crying on national TV. You ain't see not one wet tear come off them niggas' faces.
but
You
I put it
crazy.
like this just to end it off. I
Dang.
mean, our organs and our insides really is worth a lot of money.
Hell
And
yeah.
and in the beginning, it's all about who got the cleanest and the most. The cleanest organ to actually sell. If your organs is still good, yeah, they trying to sell it, kill you and sell that shit.
Hmm. I've been wondering how many people they just took their organs out their body and they weren't dead yet. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, bruh, you know how easy that shit is to do? And come back and tell a motherfucker, oh yeah, he dead.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Or based on
'Cause I
what the
mean,
reaction of the family is when you tell them they dead and you go back and do what you do. You feel me? Like,
yeah.
bruh, we know that's money on the table. And you can't move, you can't, you know what I'm saying, fight back. None of that shit.
Mhm.
So when you think about opportunity in the country we live in and how that mentality thrives, you feel me? It's like, man, fuck out of here, bro. That's why I can't take no chances. That's why I gotta take care of my body before, you know what I'm saying, I had to leave it in somebody else's hand. Because I felt like honestly that's not happened to us and our family before. You know what I mean? Like even when people get shot, you know, it's a proven fact that when people get shot, they in like a coma state. If they motionless and they ain't crying out and doing all that shit, and when you think they dead,
Shock.
they in a coma state
Shock.
where they can be brought, yeah, a state of shock almost. I mean, yeah, a state of shock where they can be brought back. You know what I'm saying? If you can trade out organs, guess what? Even if them organs messed up, you can trade that shit out. You know what I'm saying? So with that being said, it's like, bro, come on, man. Let's not, when it come to that shit, I feel you. I feel like it was, it was about them organs, it was about the conspiracies with them, being Masons and the things that they do with that shit,
They
on certain levels. Cause it
and
ain't all of them. Cause some people don't
but
have
they
a clue
no,
what they in.
exactly. That's the whole thing. That's why it's 33 degrees to that shit.
You feel
And
me?
the thing is that You know what I'm saying? It's literally a ritualistic sacrifice. He was an Aquarius individual, and they were coming into the Aquarian age. This is January of 2012. You know what I'm saying? They had to sacrifice an Aquarius
Based on
person.
what they
You know what I'm
believe,
saying?
yeah.
Based on what they're putting out in our faces,
Yeah.
man. Like, I mean, if y'all look at the if y'all man think man if y'all go down and look at all these Super Bowl halftime shows and start looking at them with a critical eye, you'll see what I'm talking about. The most recent
No,
one
no,
being
no.
with
The
Prince.
projections that they put out there, I know what you mean.
And did y'all see did y'all peep what they did with Prince?
Yep.
Shit crazy, man. This shit
That
crazy.
shit fucked
You
up.
know the little guitar symbol he got, right? You
Mm-hmm.
know, if just type in Prince's guitar, look at that shit real quick. Now if that shit don't look like a dick and balls. That shit, like, you know what I'm saying?
Oh,
But
Prince
then
knew what he
what
was
they,
doing.
yeah, I mean, like his guitar is basically the LGBT symbol. Basically, if you look at them, if you flip that motherfucker the same way, it's basically the same thing as one of them type of symbols. And
Oh, they petty.
yeah,
They
when
petty.
Justin Timberlake was doing a little halftime show, bruh. They had the shadow come up behind the curtain, and like it was Prince or something. And they had his guitar symbol, but they put it behind him, and it looked like the devil's tail.
Mm.
Y'all got to go back and look at that shit, man. Like they be doing some slick shit. And so I don't know if y'all know who the Baphomet is, but he the Nene dude. He got this is his little symbolism, right? He got the two fingers up like this, the Baphomet. So, you know
Mm-hmm.
what I'm saying? And the song that they playing during the halftime show is that Prince song, I Will Die For You. That's
Oh
what they
shit.
sing. That's what Justin Timberlake singing. They got they put the little part of his guitar symbol behind him and make it look like a damn devil's tail. Y'all go back and look at this shit. I'm not
So
playing.
basically,
And on top of that, when after they did all that, Justin Timberlake got up. He said, "Y'all, everybody put two fingers in the air for Prince." You know what I'm saying? Doing this shit right here, little Baphomet. You know what I'm saying? That's their allegiance to that entity. You know what I'm saying? This is their God. This is that Illuminati. You know what I'm saying? Energy, craziness, bro. Like I, I'm rambling a little bit because I know y'all trying to get off of here, but
Yeah,
if we
we gonna go into the bathroom next time.
yeah, if we had
yeah,
gotten
yeah,
into
yeah, yeah.
that
That's
at the
the
beginning of the
topic.
show, I would have just went ahead and broke it on down. But man, y'all take a look
Yeah,
at
and
it.
y'all ain't gonna leave Prince hanging like that either, though.
Well, you know what I'm saying? Go back and look at the lyrics to that song. The song goes, "I'm not a woman. I'm not a man. I'm something you'll never understand."
Right, right.
You know what I'm saying?
They
Something,
took that shit and ran with it though.
or was he complicit?
I mean, I wouldn't say he was complicit in the fact that he was in the room and saying, "Hey, when I die, y'all do this fuck shit to my image." I'm saying like Prince was already on some like I felt like I be on my Prince shit when now that you say it when I say, man, look, sometimes we get so caught up in this gender shit that we can't see that we both got feelings and that shit hurt. You know what I'm saying? From time to time. To the point we just be like, oh, I'm a man, you a woman, da 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 da, and we stop at that. So I felt like what Prince represented to me, you know what I'm saying, was a motherfucker who was on that same shit. Like I ain't think Prince was on no he a transvestite.
No, but here's the thing: if you look at the Baphomet, it's a man with a goat head that got titties. I'm not
But
a
you
wo-
don't.
I'm not a man. I'm something you'll
Oh
never
yeah, I get
understand.
what you going
I
with
never
that.
hurt you. I never lie.
Yeah.
If you're evil, I forgive you by and by, because I would die for you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not. I'm reading y'all the lyrics real quick because
Right. I'm listening.
it's not that many lyrics in this song. This is a dedication song. I'm not your lover. I'm not your friend. I'm something you'll never comprehend. No need to worry. No need to cry. I'm your Messiah, and you're the reason why. Because I would die for you. Blah blah blah. You're just a sinner, and I am told, be your fire when you're cold, make you happy when you're sad, make you good when you're bad. I'm not a human, I am a dove, I'm your consciousness, I am love. All you really need to know that you all I really need is to know that you believe. Yeah, I would die for you. Blah blah blah.
That's crazy.
That's
Hey,
it.
but you know that bring me back to when I
Hey,
used to talk to you
Prince
about the.
was the realest though.
Hold on,
Prince
more.
was the realest.
Hey, that
Was
bring
he?
back up the Moors though, bruh. That bring back up the Moors, bruh. Because the Moors used to say that the Caucasian worship the goat, which is what the Baphomet head is, worship the goat because it was that same goat that they made them ride across the desert to the Caucasus Mountain. So for them to turn
Yeah,
around and create a deity centered around that same goat
but
that
a lot of
still is related to, because I think of Illuminati, Baphomet, I don't think of Jay-Z. Even though niggas tried to pin that shit on them niggas, I don't think of Jay-Z being the head of that shit.
he ain't the head of nothing. Hell no, he ain't no head of
You
Hell
feel
no,
nothing.
he
me?
ain't the head.
And I'm saying that to say that go back to the Moore story of the Caucasian worshiping the goat because it was that same goat that was willing to
But
die for them going across that motherfucking desert to get their ass to Caucasus Mountain. So once again, it might sound like racist rhetoric or whatever, but it's mighty funny this shit keep coming back up.
one thing that we know is that the goat and the cow were both revered because, especially in your early spiritual systems, because that the shape of their head with the horns is what the uterus looks like.
Right,
So
right.
it's more like
And
feminine.
the bull,
This
yeah,
is Hathor. You know what I'm saying?
right. I got you.
Saying that this whole principle. I know we got to get
Hell
up off,
yeah.
but
No, I agree with that though.
let's get back
Definitely,
into
everybody had their own reasons for that shit.
yeah. I mean, but it's you know what I'm saying. Particularly, you know what I'm saying, the uterus. You know what
Hey,
I'm saying?
Marvin, go on mute with your money counting ass.
He got the paper counting machine.
Or something.
What? I don't know,
Go
dude.
on mute
Make
with your money
some
counting
potato
ass.
chips.
Oh, I thought you had a money counter going, nigga.
That nigga was
No.
finna go to sleep. He said, "Fuck it, I'll go get some chips."
Hey, but I'm just saying though, cause like we can't leave that shit out there, cause the children gonna see, or impressionable minds gonna hear it and be like, that ain't never heard of Baphomet and be thinking, or Illuminati or Masonry and be thinking like, oh, okay, so these niggas run shit. I need to
Let
be
me
a
clear.
part of that.
Nah, well, let me clear it up. Look up Knights Templar,
Oh yeah,
kids.
definitely. That's the start of this whole financial system.
Look up that in relation to the Baphomet, Baphomet.
Wouldn't you agree that got a lot to do with this whole financial system? Because they was the protectors of that goddamn shit
Yeah,
before we had one.
I wouldn't say they the reason why, but you know what I'm saying. Everybody played their role, I guess you could say.
Hell yeah. They played an important role in the beginning, the inception of this country, though.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. Before they started trying to take a lot of shit out the courtroom and all that good shit, separate church and state, can't whoop your child. What else they took away? Women, uh, gotta go to work. Like, you ain't even get these motherfuckers no choice. You just created a system, or I mean, raised the taxes and the cost of living to where these motherfuckers ain't even had no choice. Like, just like we was talking
Yeah.
about with the pilot, it might not be for everybody. You feel me? Give a motherfucker a choice. But at this point in life, you know what I'm saying, the way the cost of living is, shit, woman ain't really got no choice. Whether she want to be a housewife or whatever you want to
Yeah.
call it.
Yeah, because cause pretty much they done made it to where it takes two incomes
Yeah, and
instead
a
of
man
one.
can't even come from the conversation of I take care of you, da 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 da. No, it's got to be on some. Hey, look, out of respect, bruh, that don't make no sense. Like everything got to make sense in our relationships at this point. It's not even about I take care of you, so you got to yield to me.
Yeah,
And it's actually beautiful though when you think about it in a positive light. But in a negative light, it take away from certain women being how they want to be. You know what I'm saying? Like some women that frustrates them to have to go out there and do that and then come back in here. They exasperated all their patience at work. And I know that from being a man. Like shit, I exasperated a lot of my patience at work. So I had to tell myself when I get home, take an hour, debrief, listen to some music, get your shit together before you deal with your family, because you're gonna start dealing with them based on what you was just dealing with.
Yeah.
But I'm
But I
about to
learned that from the old folks though. Good night,
head to bed though.
old man
I gotta
Shaw.
get
Say
up.
good night to the people.
All right, people, I'll holler at y'all.
Hey, nigga, we gonna have you back on here. I'm glad you stopped through though, man.
That's what's up.
Can
Nice
fucking
conversation.
five.
Nice conversation we had. Nice conversation.
Man,
All
we gonna
right.
continue with me and Melvin be on this thing every Sunday night, fool.
That's
So
what's
feel free
up.
to drop into the round table, get you some food. You know what I'm saying? Cause we gonna break bread. When I come back to the city, if you there too, nigga, we need to go on and do a live. You know what I'm saying, on the spot type of shit.
Yeah.
Cause I really
Coming
want to
down
get it
July.
to the man. Definitely gonna be down for the family reunion.
Oh yeah. All right. That was up.
Definitely gotta make the family reunion for.
What family
Cause
reunion
you
you
should
doing
come
up
out
there?
our family reunion
What?
on my daddy's side.
Uh,
Granny and them. We
when
need,
they
man. We
having
should start
one?
a family reunion,
When y'all having one?
huh?
I said,
We have
when
it every year in
does
July,
this
second
family?
Saturday in July.
Oh shit! Hold on. I think I am trying to come down next weekend.
Well, nigga, you need to come on, man. I'm telling
Shit.
you, it's gonna be a good
Damn.
time. Especially
God
for a meat eater.
damn.
You know what I'm saying? It's gonna be a good time for you. Yeah, my line, bro.
No, nigga.
Damn. Hell man, I think this is making me want to come back next weekend.
Man, hey, fool, you
For
see
sure.
Melvin Gordon, your ass ain't gonna
Shit.
want to leave. I almost made me a tent in the backyard on his ass.
Damn.
You hear me, Marvin?
Well,
I said, you see Melvin Gordon, you ain't gonna want to leave. I almost made a tent in the backyard on his ass.
dang.
I swear, nigga. Hey, I was like, damn, nigga. I looked out the window. I wasn't even in the house about 10 minutes before I looked out the window and seen that shit. Cause me and him and I already talked. But
But
shit, when I seen it, I knew. I was like, God damn, this nigga been out here putting in that work though. But that shit look good though.
I do
Cause I know
know
you
just
got
one
some little
thing
shit
though.
growing.
Man, Thanksgiving. I mean,
What?
it's in Georgia. It's in Georgia. I mean, I'm
I
cooking
mean, if you gonna do
Thanksgiving.
it big, I wouldn't mind going to Georgia.
I'm cooking
I
Thanksgiving.
see you.
Man,
Hey,
I
I'm
look
about
for
to bring
nobody. Come
something.
on out.
I'm gonna bring something too though. They're gonna have to bring something. We like to cook around here.
Hell shit.
Oh
Hey,
yeah, I'm glad I
and then
said.
I mean to me everything that
What'd you
actually
say, Mel?
I might be cooking is going to be on the grill. So you know.
Yeah, I know you a grill. You a grill
It's gonna
head.
be on the grill. Everything on the grill.
What'd you say, Mel?
I was saying, man, that remind me, I gotta get this shit to make them pot pies for the reunion.
Ooh, boy, don't play Kim Falk, Kim Falk. I'm trying to see what that shit is talking about ASAP. When I seen that shit, I was like, ooh. And I've been thinking about this shit. Somebody beat me to the punch.
Yeah, that shit good as fuck. I'm gonna make one just for you, bro.
Mine. I appreciate your love. We gotta make something shake, bro. So I'm telling you, 2018 been a great year, but I be thinking, bro, with this garden shit, especially when it come to cooking and shit, I be thinking, bro, we gotta take this shit up a notch next year, bro. I don't
Yeah.
know what we gonna do with it, but man, we gotta take this shit up. I mean, I do know I don't want to speak too much, but man, bro, we need to get this cooking money, bro. Cause niggas
Oh,
need the opportunity for this option of good food that they don't feel guilty about out there eating too.
Oh
I
yeah. But
need to
hey,
put out a
real
recipe
talk,
book.
real talk.
Yeah,
Hell yeah, recipe
Man,
book.
real talk though.
What's that?
I mean, hopefully pretty soon. I mean, hell, shoot. Georgia is about to experience goddamn it Tennessee cooking for real, for real. I mean, cause
What you
I,
got in the works?
I mean, all I can say is Nashville and Memphis is about to goddamn it. I mean, start up something to goddamn it, just bang out with it. I
Hey,
mean.
well, you better make sure you come back on the platform when you get that shit brewing and you ready to tell me the name of that shit, cuz you hear me?
Huh?
I said, well, you make sure you come back on the channel when you get that shit popping and you ready to tell us the name of that. You
Uh,
know, there's some people in Georgia gonna hear this shit and be like, now what they say?
yeah. But hey, best believe. I mean, it's time to bring what good cooking really comes from, and that's Tennessee. I mean, I'm just saying.
Hey, boy, you better
Tennessee
not put
got
your
it.
foot in your mouth.
Tennessee got the good cook. I mean, besides Chi Town, I mean, Tennessee got the good cooking.
Hey, you petty. I ain't gonna even let you do me like that. Ohio can cook too, nigga. I ain't gonna even let you do me like that.
I don't know. I don't know.
I
I
got some
mean,
good
I
food
ain't
in
had
Michigan too,
Ohio
though.
yet, though. I ain't had Ohio.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah, you lying. You lying. On live, though, but it's cool. We gonna let that shit slide. We gonna let that shit slide. Ooh, this is some of the risk of going live. But,
But
man,
I'm about to get on up off of
yeah,
here, though.
yeah, I'm about to do this up. Get your ass.
Uh,
I love you, cuz, bro. Peace.
uh,
All right, bro. We're gonna chop it up later.
Yes,
But
sir.
I feel like we should do a part two on relationships and maybe since you brought up the last hot topic, which was about Illuminati, maybe we should talk about the relationships between our people and Illuminati. Um, like from a perspective to where a layman's person can, what I mean, come up to speed and not be fearful either, though.
Yeah, my whole thing, and I'm gonna make this real quick,
Mm,
is people gotta understand that the Illuminati is not a entity in and of itself. At least as far as what I've detected. You know what I'm saying? I
mm,
ain't speak, but to me it seems to be the culmination of groups. You know what I'm
mm.
saying? Who agree on a end goal. You know what I'm saying?
I
So
agree.
you know, I own the Patriots, you own the goddamn Eagles, but the end goal is to just make hella money via the NFL. You know what I'm saying? So like it's
Right.
just that's how I look at what the Illuminati is. But I think that you know what I'm saying, the scare tactics that they use, you know what I'm saying, is a lot of symbology. Like I don't believe in no devil. You know what I'm saying? So
Mm.
I want to get that straight. I don't believe in no Baphomet. You know what I'm saying? This shit is to keep strangers at bay. It's
Right,
they want
right.
to keep the air. They want you to be scared,
Right,
but there's
right,
nothing in the world to be afraid of.
right.
See what I'm
The
saying?
ancestors used to do that too. They used to put pictures
All
of
is in the
demons
mind.
on the walls to scare off intruders and shit.
Yeah, all is in the mind. And what they've done is they've corrupted true spirituality, and they've
Mm-hmm.
created male-dominated cult religions, and they've
Yeah.
created demonic entities as well, so that you'll want to choose those male-dominated religions that are going to dictate how your life is supposed to go, versus going with some of these witchcraft
They
entities
demonized all the old culture.
demonized. They turn, you know what I'm saying, feminine ideals into devils, and you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying, and they you know what I'm
And
saying,
hoes and harlots and shit.
yeah. So you know what I'm saying. Now all that shit is the shit we're scared of. Like how do I look being scared of a damn pentagram? It's a fucking shape. Like I'm not afraid of that shit. Like you know what I'm saying. So, like, It's in your mind. That's all. That's all
Right,
I'm
it's
saying.
power in the intention. If you know what I'm saying. If you it was intended for you to be scared, then shit. A lot of times, motherfuckers who ignorant of it will be scared.
You'll be scared because and the
It's to
people,
ward off the layman's.
yeah, they don't want you to have the confidence to go look into it. They want you to be scared of that shit.
And for me, when I first seen the Bofferman videos when they was talking about the rappers and shit, I couldn't accept it full heartedly because I was like, man, it felt like they trying to turn me against our shit though. Like, you know what I'm saying? I knew at that point I had no clue what my real culture was in totality. You feel me? To a point it was like I couldn't just reject, you know what I mean, something I ain't never heard of before when I know I ain't never heard about my real culture. You know what I'm saying?
Man,
So it was one of those. But she, like I said, we're gonna have to probably do a part two about that there. Cause I would definitely have to go in depth a little more from my experience as well as my perspective on that one. But family, we appreciate you coming through, tuning in, showing love. I encourage everybody to listen to this. Next time you come through, get in the chat room, interact, talk with each other, show love, talk your shit. Um, who knows? You know what I mean? I'm gonna be looking through the chat, trying to pull people on into the conversation. But it's all about pull up a chair. Welcome to the
network.
round table. Let's break bread. You got something else you want to say before we close it up, bro?
Good night.
Definitely gonna be a good night. I wonder if we still got half of that full moon out there, Mark. But I know I've been having some good dreams, so good dreams to everybody. And even if it's a bad dream, you need to decipher that thing. Can fall. Let me see what it's talking about. Signing out. All right, bro. Love you.
Late too, bro.
Peace.
Drug